Loftus-Cheek's never playing for you again, bro.
I'm worried because I remember when we spoke to Craig Mitch.
As well.
That is worrying. But when we spoke to Craig Mitch, he was like, "Yeah, when I last spoke to Ruben, he's not too happy."
Really?
Well, which isn't good.
I mean, that's probably said in confidentiality, wasn't it?
Oh, well, there you go. A little exclusive.
Never mind. I am really.
Jalab reveals.
I am really excited to see Fabinho and Keita line up in the same midfield. What we thought would be Liverpool's starting midfield have partnered together for the first time in this game. However, Chelsea on top in the early stages. Victor Moses back. Kyle Barkley. Ross. I was going to Kyle Bartley. He used to play for Swansea. Ross Barkley starting in central midfield.
Ross Barkley's impressed me this season. Like, especially when he first joined, I was like, oh, great, here he is. But for how much we got him for,
oh, great.
Here
he is.
Exactly.
Here he is.
But every time he's come on, he has surprised me. And for under 20 million to get someone for his age and...
Is he not even that young, mate? He's about 20.
Hello!
Oh, good effort.
Yeah, exactly. 12, 13, 16 million whatever we spent for him.
What a load
That's absolutely
of
fine.
Christensen.
Tell me a better person.
How good has Rudiger been at the start of the season to keep this guy out of the side? Because Christensen was an absolute rock for you at one point
he surprised me.
He was one of your players of the year.
This is it. Rudiger surprised me a lot, actually, because the whole... I guess, from what I've heard, the biggest problem with Christensen is Sarri doesn't like the fact that he can't necessarily pass up the back, which I don't quite believe.
Well, Christensen, I always thought Christensen was a good passer.
Do you remember that error against Barcelona in the Champions League
last year?
No one's getting past
where he passed it across the edge of the D, and that was the decisive goal.
Exactly.
And then you lost all momentum.
That sort of coincided with the downfall of him last season.
Really well,
he was kind of manoeuvred out of the side.
I think this is a really important game for Alvaro Morata because he's lost his starting place in the last couple of weeks.
The game in the Europa League, he had 7 shots before being hauled off after 60, 70 minutes, and couldn't even score against a bunch of Middle Eastern farmers.
For a man that needed a big season, he's not started as you'd like him to as a Chelsea fan, I imagine.
The worst thing...
Giroud's looked like pretty solid since he's come in.
Yeah, well, this is it, because the worst thing was Eden Hazard came out in an interview and was just like, oh, I absolutely love playing with Giroud. He does everything for me. Yeah, he essentially said this kind of stuff. And he was just like, oh, it's so good. We play so well together. He obviously didn't name drop Morata, but
Eden
that is
Hazard,
essentially what he did.
Can say what he wants in your team.
Absolutely boring.
He could tell Sarri to play David Luiz up front,
and
Sarri may well.
David Luiz might do a job and a half, though. That's the thing. I would not be surprised.
Sarri doesn't strike me as the sort of guy as a pushover. Oh, hello!
Oh, yes, Caballero.
Well done, Caballero.
The sweeper keeper.
He's had a glow up and a half.
It would also be interesting to see because this is effectively Liverpool's second string back five. Mignolet hasn't played a game for Liverpool since January. Lovren, Matty, Moreno. Oh, Moreno already having a dodgy moment on the ball. So it's big games for all of them because Gomez has started the season really well. Van Dijk is obviously their fulcrum of that defence. So lots of these Liverpool players really need a big game. And as Chris said earlier, intrigued to see how Fabinho copes.
Who's starting a right back for Liverpool?
Nathaniel Klein.
Nathaniel
I'd say most of these players that are on the pitch right now for Liverpool, apart from Naby Keita, Mane and Milner. I'm trying to think who's playing on the right wing.
Shaqiri is.
Yeah, those three players are the only ones that I guess you'd say are in their starting 11 normally.
Yeah.
Don't forget as well to send in loads of questions in the comments below.
Yes,
Doogie is in control of an iPad and will be asking your questions to us. So we'll be talking about
basically the size of that tablet.
I know it's basically a live Sunday Vibes. This it's almost like a live Sunday Vibes, isn't it?
Like 10 Commandments would carve that bad boy.
Cheers, Serge, for this upstairs.
Yeah, that is huge.
On that note, shall we have a question? Big news of the week has been Man United and their disastrous performance against Derby. Joe's
what a free kick that
just about recovered. And the first question that I want to bring in comes from Zelalem Elliott. And he wants to know what is wrong with United, players or coach? Joe Tomlinson, this is your favourite subject, although probably not your favourite at the moment.
Now, have you chilled out from this morning? Because you stormed in 20-9. Mourinho's got to go. He's got to go. Pogba is going to outlast him at the club.
There are more problems than any one area at this club. There are failings at the board level, there are failings at the owner level, there are failings at the managerial level, at a coaching level, and at a players level. Everybody has a problem at the moment at the club. We start with Ed Woodward because Ed Woodward is doing his job, 50% of it, unbelievably well. As a commercial director, it's incredible. The man has turned over, I believe, our predicted turnover next year will be 630 million. Bearing in mind, I think second closest in the Premier League is about 200.
Great bank
million.
balance.
Have you
It's not
become
so good on the
the
points
most
table.
valuable sports team, I think, level with the Dodgers now?
We're around,
Is it
we're
Dodgers?
probably, but let's not forget as well, of that 600 million, the Glazers are taking about 480 million every single year to pay off debts and pre-owned and pre-agreements. So we don't manage to keep all of that. But what I do think is that he needs to be supported by a sporting director. So if he's going to manage the commercial side of it, which is fine, doing a cracking job there, Ed, give someone the sporting side of it with more knowledge of the game, better contacts and better negotiating skills in the boardroom. Because that doesn't help us. It doesn't give the manager confidence. Then the manager has a problem with his team. He doesn't set it out correctly, in my opinion. I think the tactics are slightly wrong. I think that he's not instilling confidence. He's obviously had bust-ups with key members of the team. And there's huge areas there that are problems when he goes, "Oh, Pogba, you shouldn't be moaning to the public about us." Well, I'm sorry, Jose, but I've seen you do the exact same thing 10 times already over the last 6 months, moaning about individual players.
Did you not think it was just poorly timed, having just made that mistake against Wolves? Did Pogba really need to complain about the coach's tactics at that moment?
I have seen Jose Mourinho complain about players' tactics and antics and performances at the most inopportune times all the time.
Even when he wins.
Constantly bemoaning players, constantly belittling players. And then you come down to the players. And exactly that is a problem. Washing our dirty laundry in public has become a huge issue for United. All of our feuds are public business and public knowledge. Pogba versus Mourinho, Mourinho versus Martial, Mourinho versus Ed Woodward. The one trouble is, there's one man associated with every feud at the club, and it's Jose Mourinho. He's got problems with individual players.
That's a lovely turn.
Lovely turn.
Ooh,
He's got
Shaqiri.
problems with the players. He's got problems with the board. He's got problems with the scouting network.
So what you're saying is,
You want him out.
Jose...
What I'm saying is, I think it's time for Jose to move on.
On camera.
Bam. We have
And
that.
who would you welcome through the doors? Zidane.
Not an easy appointment next. Any appointment we take.
Naby
Keita!
Oh! Cleared there.
Good clearance by
manically.
Christensen.
Was that Christensen?
I think so.
This game has gone off like an absolute rocket. Both teams going for it here. Some very decent build-up play from both sides.
I don't know what sound I just made there. I think I broke James's ear.
And I think this is already better than the entirety of Super Sunday.
Yeah. So yeah, just a little bit more on Man United.
Naby Keita.
Yes, Gary Cahill.
A little bit more on Manchester United. There are so many issues
not done.
with the managerial, with the manager at the moment, that it kind of pales into insignificance. The fact that we actually have some incredibly talented individual players in the squad.
Of course you do.
Incredibly.
Man United.
Rashford, Martial, Lukaku, Alexis Sanchez, Paul Pogba. If you can't get goals out of them, there is no point.
As a hand.
Ooh, little hand there from Fabregas from the Naby Keita
way
flick.
too
I don't know, there's VAR as well
Might
in
be a
these
bit close.
competitions.
Way too
VAR
close.
in
There is
Carabao.
VAR in
Great,
Carabao,
love a bit of
but it's
VAR.
just not going to
I
happen.
love that
Love a
research,
bit of
Simon,
VAR.
eh?
But yeah, if you can't get some attacking cohesion out of those 5 players, you do not deserve to be Manchester United manager. And the simple fact is, we've had 4 games at home this season. The only game where we haven't looked a diabolical mess has been when we lost 3-0 to Tottenham.
Has Mourinho ever had a break? Or has he moved every... Like, you know where Pep Guardiola took a year off?
I believe he's moved every single season.
Maybe he needs
Did he have
a break.
a small break
And do
between
you know where
Inter and Real Madrid?
do you know where I feel like
Small
we're
breakdowns.
do you know where I feel like
Camera
we're
angle,
Stop it.
camera angle.
at the moment is that Man United right now are approaching the exact same moment that Chelsea did when the Chelsea fans were holding banners that said Cesc, Hazard, Costa, the rats of Chelsea, and Real Madrid fans were doing the same when he was there, and all of the pressure seems to be on the players. Well, Man United, all I ever hear, all the fans in the stadium is going, attack, 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 attack. That's one of Man United fans' favourite chants. When Pogba comes out and says we should attack, it's a massive problem. So the fans want attacking football, the players want attacking football. Why aren't we
The
delivering
big
attacking
difference I think here is with Chelsea and Real Madrid was Mourinho was loved there by the fans, where I think with United, he isn't necessarily as loved.
They've shown him quite a lot of goodwill at the stadiums.
The United
in
fans
recent
in the
weeks.
stadium
They've
have
clapped
shown
him
him
off.
nothing
The
but
away
goodwill.
fans have been recorded at
I think
games,
particularly away fans.
in
yeah.
very vociferous support of him. So I don't know. I think he's definitely divided the Manchester United faithful, let's say. And we know where Joe stands after that rant.
It's ridiculous. Honestly, I think Adam McCullough hit the nail on the head really well on Full-Time Devils yesterday. He said, everybody keeps saying the players are an issue. Well, I'm sorry, how are you going to blame Paul Pogba for last night's game? How are you going to blame Anthony Martial for the games he doesn't play? But they still get blamed. Alexis Sanchez, whose decision was it to bring in? Jose definitely had a massive say in the Alexis Sanchez transfer. That is a Jose Mourinho transfer all over.
I mean, last night you should obviously be dispatching Derby. They're a Championship
We're played
side.
off the park by Derby.
Although a good side, but remember you did have 10 men and they scored an absolute worldie of a free kick.
But it makes no difference, dude. We're played off the park at 11 men.
Okay.
With 3 shots on target.
Yeah.
In 90 minutes.
It does seem like it's coming to
Old Trafford. 8 shots on target at home to Wolves.
Yeah, because we were battered there as well.
It's not that you're just ineffective going forward. You're actually really porous at the back. And we had this debate in the office this morning, didn't we? How are Manchester United further ahead defensively? How has Sarri done this in 7 games?
Yeah.
Because
and Jose Mourinho can't get
well.
more out of Eric Bailly. He's signed Victor Lindelof. Victor Lindelof is now further away from the starting 11 or I don't know where he's coming for.
Yeah, but this is the difference.
In the last couple of games, but he's already been deemed not good enough. Already surplus the requirements.
That is such a bad ball by Mane.
You're back for. You're no settled to having. You're no closer to having a back 4 than you were 2 years ago. But settled back 4.
Half of the battle is you've got to start defending from the front. United should be having 70% possession at home, putting 20 shots past teams, having 8 to 10 shots on target against Wolves, where we're battering them, and the defence is sitting there going, it's an easy day.
Did you expect that when Jose Mourinho joined the club?
I expected at least some attacking football based on the players he had available.
Ross Barkley has been great this game. Didn't think I'd say that.
The Chelsea press is been extremely effective, and Morata, his link-up play, has actually been really good first 10. What do you think of Morata? Because a lot of Chelsea fans have ran out of patience. They want him gone, think he's a bit of a donkey. Giroud's come in, he's set up a few Hazard goals, he's sort of won everyone over.
This is it. I think my biggest problem, I think I do have a bit of like a Morata bias here because I really like him as a striker and I like him at Real Madrid and I really want him to succeed at Chelsea. So maybe my view's a little bit misguided. But I still believe he's got it there. I thought when he started the season last season, he was really good. I remember him scoring that goal against United, which won us the game. And then obviously he had that injury. I think he's very much a confidence player. He needs the manager going, look, you can do this, you can do this. You're going to be my number 1 starting striker.
He's had ample opportunity at the start of the season.
He has. And then I guess the annoying thing for him as well is that Giroud has come in and Giroud hasn't gone, I'm the main man here. He's gone, I'm going to set up the main man. Whereas I think when Morata was playing, he was a bit more, I want to score all the goals. And now Hazard is taking. That's worrying.
What is Moreno doing?
Yes, but now Hazard's taking all the headlines, which he should be as well, because he's our best player and the best player since we signed him back in 2012. Look, whether he leaves in January, I'm not sure.
Hazard?
No, Morata.
Oh, Morata.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised if Morata left.
I wouldn't.
I'd be surprised if there's a club willing to pay the money like.
This is it.
What do they pay? 60?
You're going to take a lot.
Chelsea shut out for
exactly.
Yeah, you'd have to take a massive drop on him.
But there are times when I watch him play and it's like, he is good. I remember that game against Stoke where he scored a hattie and he had that goal where he
When was that
beat.
though?
He beat.
That was before Christmas last year. He was awesome before Christmas.
Before injury.
Exactly.
It's that injury to his back, and then since then, like obviously he also had he's had kids as well recently. That may have played effect. Who knows? Maybe they keep him up until 3 a.m. in the morning. You never know.
Maybe.
The thing is,
quite a few footballers have kids.
Morata was on pretty much the same pace as Romelu Lukaku last season, pre-Christmas. I think they were both on about 10 goals going into the Christmas period. And then Morata, I don't think he scored another goal.
And he'd just come off a 20-goal season for Real Madrid, the highest scoring Spaniard in La Liga that year. Yeah. So he had momentum. But that back injury definitely did affect him. That was the one, wasn't it? Rio Ferdinand said this before, like a back injury will completely change you as a player, and if you can't get over that sort of like chronic pain.
But then at Real Madrid, he was also never like a consistent starter. I mean, I think he holds the record for like substitute goals in 1 year in La Liga.
We discussed this before. Yeah. Like I've said this on 12th Man, in that it's a very different responsibility for him now, and it's very hard to tell whether if he's handling that pressure or not. And if that's playing a huge part, being the number 1, but
I think when he was
stupid.
When he was at Juve, he was sort of sharing the load with Mandzukic. I think Fernando Llorente was there at the same time as him. So there seemed like a lesser
he scored
burden.
Big goals at Juventus.
Yeah, he did.
In the Champions League.
I just don't know whether he was quite used to being the main man every day in this new physical league where the games come thick and fast, especially pre-Christmas. The amount of games that Liverpool are playing 7 games in the next 30 days. which is just mental, including against PSG, Man City, Chelsea away.
Morata!
Here we go.
Morata! Oh my God, Alvaro!
That would have been right on cue.
What
Fair
is
enough.
he doing?
That wasn't too bad. The ball's...
What do you mean?
No, the first touch
The
wasn't
ball
too
was
bad.
dropping.
Has to
The
score.
goalkeeper's face has been the bane of Morata's last 2 games. He's planted it.
Oh, just
Clean
came
on
across the goal
Fabianski
line.
now. And
That
clean
was
on
too-
Mignolet's
That was
bunch.
close.
For
That
those of
was
you that
close.
don't know,
He
Chelsea,
has
it's
to
0-0
score
between
there.
Chelsea and Liverpool. Morata
know,
just
I
had
quite
a clear chance.
I'd quite like to see a replay of that.
Yeah.
But go on, you were talking about Kovacic because he has settled
Oh, it's beautiful to see. We all knew.
extremely easily.
But we all knew.
We all knew he was good at Real Madrid, and we were like, oh, maybe you just give him game time and it'll be really good. Chelsea give him game time and he's really
They
good.
knew he was good
There's
at
a
Madrid as well, didn't they?
surprise.
Which is why it was so hard to get him out. Which is why he was complaining in the press. And
This is
I think if Thibaut Courtois hadn't gone that way, he'd still be sitting on the bench now.
This is what
Real,
worries
wouldn't he?
me, the fact that we haven't got a buy clause in the deal at the end of the season, because whatever it is,
Good
I
lid
think
there as
we'd
well.
pay it. We'd pay it easily.
He's got a lot more to his game than I thought he
He has,
was.
like his defensive work is. He's really good at being behind the man and winning the
Here
ball.
we go. This is
Oh, there's the Morata.
flick
chance.
over. I think that's a good save.
Has to
I think that's a good save.
score.
He's from a young. I think that's quite
Right,
a good
this will be
keeping.
the
To
best
be fair.
angle.
He's 3 yards out.
Mignolet comes out.
That's a good touch.
That is a good save.
Is
I think.
it? He's
Well,
not going low.
Does he low it? He did the same thing against Fabianski.
That's not bad. If a striker's
It's
in
not a
form
shocker.
and he does that.
I'm
then
looking.
no
I'm going to see
one
what
really
people are saying
says,
on Twitter
"Oh,
about that. I want to
go
see
on."
what everybody's saying on Twitter. Get involved in the conversation as well.
Yeah,
Make sure you're commenting,
keep
tweet
them
us.
coming in.
What do you guys think? Should Morata have scored that one-on-one with Mignolet?
Tweet us to our personal accounts as well, because the Football Daily one has been banned because we used footage from FIFA the Best. Oh, Morata turning his man inside out there.
We've had to go
Prove us
rogue.
wrong.
Football
Was that
Daily
Matip?
Twitter.
I don't know, whoever was there.
He'll be back soon.
So
It's
he's
the long and
Morata on the
short,
ball, straight through to Willian. Nice ball.
See you later, Matip.
This is a great turn. That's terrible defending, though.
Good movement. He's
Again,
been,
I think
Fair play.
Mignolet, good
save.
save.
Good save, yeah.
good movement. He's been very active. That is a good save. You're right. I feel like this half of the sofa is Team Morata.
I want to be, and
this
I
half is Team
am
Giroud.
Team Morata.
Right, lads, we've had a question in from Westy16, and we'll just cover it briefly because we've done quite a lot on Man United already. But he says, do you think West Ham could cause an upset at Man United next weekend?
Yes.
And in the 4-3-3, where do you think Lanzini could play? I think Lanzini's out for quite a
Lanzini's out
while.
for a long
so
time, there's no point
we'll not
answering
cover
that.
that. But do we think West Ham could cause an upset at
Trying
Old
to
Trafford?
set Joe off again. His vein is going to pop if he has to
is.
Well, I
talk
just
about
thought-
Manchester
I've already
United.
sat on 2 cushions here. You probably
Westy,
can't
it's
see
a
at
good
home, but
question.
I'm
It
sat on
came in,
2
I thought I had to
cushions.
order.
Hemorrhoid cushion.
All right, Chris, why don't you take this one? What do you think of West Ham? Could they cause an upset?
I think we're all pleasantly surprised how defensively sound they were against
Chelsea.
Chelsea, drawing at the weekend, and we saw another side to them against Everton, where they actually look like a cohesive attacking unit. I think the most important player, Emerson Palmieri there,
I think
bombing
he's
on.
so well.
Big
honestly.
game for Emerson as well.
It really is, it really is.
We all like Emerson, don't we? A little bit more defensively sound than Marcus Alonso. Jimbo Milner, Jimbo Slice getting a yellow card there. What a man. But to go back to your question, yeah, I think we were sort of surprised to see them attack so well and defend so well. So they've kind of showed a bit of variety to the game the last few weeks after being utterly useless in the opening weeks. But I think Felipe Anderson's the most important player in the transition. He, apart from Marco Arnautovic, obviously, has been involved in 80% of their goals so far this season. But Felipe Anderson gives that midfield impetus. He stitches the attack and the defence together, where you're not going to get that from Obiang, Declan Rice and Mark Noble. Morata! Almost forcing the OG there.
He's
Come on,
looked
big
lively.
Let
Morata.
Morata
He's looked
get-
very
oh,
lively.
he's
Oh, he's
offside.
offside.
And
He's never going to score another goal.
what about you, boys?
I'm going to wait. We're going to clip that out.
I've
in half
never
an hour.
understood. I've never understood how you can be offside so much as a player.
Surely, just get
Zach,
that. to
Joseph,
Kaiser.
what you made of West Ham? West Ham!
Rubbish.
I thought they were going to be terrible this season. They were at the beginning, and they against Chelsea, they just did the job. And I guess that's what you kind of need to do now when you're playing the bigger teams.
They found a bit more balance in midfield, haven't they?
I think Yarmolenko's a good signing, even though he's quite old. Who else have they got? I think Diop is
What a ball. Sadio Mane's away. Oh, little hand there. That was good defending there from Aspate.
Sturridge.
I bet you he scores against us. I bet you Daniel Sturridge scores against us.
For me, West Ham stuck really badly in the mud. They have
Even after spending all that dough?
100%. They've spent the dough okay, but they've still got a very average midfield. Obiang, Wilshere, Noble,
Anderson,
Sanchez.
Rice.
Declan Rice is a really good prospect. Declan Rice, I think,
is he a
could be a
centre-back
really
or
good.
CDM?
You're not going to
Could
set
be
the
a really
world
good
alight in the
prospect.
Premier League just yet, though.
I think Declan Rice, I would be starting pretty much week in, week out for West Ham.
What, a CDM or centre-back? Because he is originally a
Probably
centre-back.
defensive
He
midfield.
is now, and he's playing in midfield, isn't he?
Yeah, he is
Alongside
playing
Obiang
defensive
and
midfield,
Noble, yeah.
But I think there's still
was dirty.
West Ham fans on my Twitter that are calling for a Declan Rice, Wilshere and Noble midfield, which is just...
Well, none of them are a good
Surging.
enough combination to play in a 2, are they?
I think Obiang has to play in that midfield.
Yeah.
Obiang
And
has to
Wilshere
play
definitely
in that midfield.
needs protection.
Wilshere shouldn't be playing for that side, but neither should Mark Noble. I think that Mark Noble's days as a Premier League midfielder are pretty numbered.
Yes, Ross Barkley absolutely
I think he's
dragged
effectively
down.
living off a West Ham legacy at the moment. And
Yeah.
he's done a really good job for them over the years. Let's have it right. He's been with the club through thick and thin, but I think now's the time to move on and progress. And the sale of Kouyaté in the summer has not set them back because he was also an average player, but I think he was more dynamic than Mark Noble.
Ooh.
we
Well,
go.
I mean, you're not
Hot
going to
take.
get Mark Noble out of West Ham. The fans just won't be convinced. It's an absolute non-star. Apparently, we're about 3 or 4 minutes behind on the stream, which we can only apologise for. We're actually in the Football Daily Man Cave, and the signal is a little bit slower down here. We're going to potentially try and refresh the stream now, get a little bit further up to date. Kieran's on it, the Lisp King working away, beavering away in the background.
Here we go. Have we
Lads,
caught up?
while we wait for this,
Yeah.
Yes.
got another question.
23. Did we just jump?
Don't know.
Don't know, but
I
we're
don't know.
23
We're back
minutes into
on.
the
We're
game.
back on. Barclays on screen now. But we are, So this question from Dalglish Rush, Deadly Duo. He wants to know. Guess who? He wants to know. Since after Daniel Sturridge's impressive performance against PSG last week,
Yes.
what do you guys think Sturridge needs to do to firmly establish himself in Klopp's plans?
Stay fit. That is literally... Obviously, it's going to be impossible to get in with Firmino, Salah and Mane, but he can always be that super sub.
What a run from Palmieri, by the way.
So you think he could be used in the sort of lesser Premier League games when the Champions League hops up a bit?
Exactly. But the biggest thing, and it's about his whole career. God, Christensen's absolutely crunched. A Liverpoolian player. And there's been a quick free kick. But no, Sturridge just needs to stay fit. It's been his biggest problem.
Chance. Oh, terrible touch from Sadio Mane.
I think
It's so up and down this game.
we
It's
had this
mental.
argument, didn't we, on Sunday Vibes, that I actually think Liverpool have very decent attacking options. They have strength and depth up front. I think,
Come on, Matter.
like I said, a lot of it is dependent on Danny Sturridge's fitness, but Shaqiri's an able deputy. Dominic Solanke, we've just sort of forgot about him as a prospect. I actually think if he got minutes, he could do some damage against the lesser sides in the Premier League.
How
let's say.
old is Solanke now?
21, maybe?
Yeah, he might be my age. or a
Sturridge
bit
needs to
older.
leave Liverpool.
Do you think?
Yeah.
No, but
He's tried that, and he actually he can't
But you
do it at an inferior side like
I
West
actually
Brom, where he has
disagree.
to be more up front, where he has to
But
give
you'd
more
want him
physically.
I think he's good enough for a top half team, but I can't see him in another top 6 team.
I think
He's not
he
going to get in
would have
ahead of
been.
any of those
Yeah.
top 6
He'd have done
strikers.
just as good a job at Southampton as Danny Ings.
No,
But Southampton's so low down.
I know,
He's not got the players around him.
I actually
Everton.
think because he's kind of not physically spent, that's been a bit traumatic. He can't be.
He needs
trapped
Danny
Right.
Ings
back.
hasn't played one game in
needs
2
to-
years.
He needs to be in a side that has the majority of possession. Yeah, but Danny Ings has recovered fine from his injury. There's not been recurrent
Sturridge never
injuries,
has.
has there? Whereas Sturridge seems to have a problem every 3 months. But
I sort of agree with you, Chris. I think Sturridge's thing is his dribble, his close control, and his short passing that he can do, and he can only really do that with men around him. He's not going to run from 60 yards, balls over the top anymore. He's not that sort of player anymore.
That's a yellow card.
I'd like to see him at somewhere like Leicester after Vardy retires. I think that would be quite interesting. But I can't see him at another top 16.
Him and Vardy are probably the same age.
Is Sturridge not slightly younger?
I think
yeah,
Sturridge is
Sturridge's
a
not
couple
in
years
his
younger. But
Oh, he's nearly
Google it now.
32,
the West Brom
isn't he?
experiment was an absolute disaster, wasn't it? And he ended up on the bench.
He was injured.
Yeah, but even when he was available, I think they were opting for Jay Rodriguez, weren't they? But because he's just not.
Leaks that for first.
Yeah, I know. He's just not. He's not gonna. He doesn't have that battle in him physically. But if his role is just to get shots off, like high quality chances in the box in Liverpool, you've got players that can put it on a plate for him. I actually think what does a successful season look like for Danny Sturridge? 20 goals in all competitions, 15 to 20 goals in all competitions as a rotation player.
So Sturridge
As
is
a
29.
rotation player.
Do you think Sturridge is going to get 20 as
And
a
how,
rotation?
Jamie Vardy's 31.
31.
I think if Sturridge could play 30 games and get 10 goals, Jurgen Klopp would be delighted with that.
Yeah.
Do you think Sturridge would?
No,
I think he's got to
Bobby
accept his
wants-
place.
yeah, exactly.
The team has completely transformed since he was a regular in that starting lineup.
But so has the expectations of Liverpool. Like we now expect them to compete on multiple fronts, and if they go deep in this competition, then
I would be amazed if Sturridge ever got 20 goals again in his career.
unless it's in the Championship.
I mean, that's not exactly a hot take. I think you probably.
No, but you said 15 to 20 goals.
Yeah,
he's not going to get 20.
That'd be a great season. Like a great season, a fine season.
You'd
Yeah,
be happy with
10
8
goals.
Daniel Sturridge.
8 goals, come on. A player of his calibre should not be going for 8 goals in all competitions.
When did he last score 8 goals in all competitions, Daniel Sturridge?
When did he last put together a run of 10 games?
Exactly. So what we expect? Why are we expecting him to put?
I don't know. I feel like we're just kind of
Right.
We've
all
all
making
agreed.
the same
Danny-
sort of
Danny
point.
is-
Yeah, I think
Okay,
we're all
that-
on the similar page.
Hang on. What food has everyone voted for? That's
I
If it's
voted
not
for
pizza,
Chinese.
they're
not
not
pizza.
going to be happy.
Not pizza.
pizza's winning.
Not
by-
pizza.
Pizza 57%, curry 19%, Chinese 24%. And
Oh,
Doogie
I
has
turned down a
revealed
curry
that
for his
he
live
was
stream,
one
so
of the
that's
24% that went Chinese.
Oh, come on. What
I
was
turned down.
everyone else
I turned down a
thinking?
carry 4 of his live stream. I'm disappointed.
You've
we're not getting
had an
curry.
absolute Western sleeper.
Yeah, come on then. Let's get.
Right,
pizza.
guys, there's another question in from Monty. I think this is probably directed at Zach.
Bring it on.
He
Good
says,
catch
do you
name,
think Ampadu should have played instead of Cahill? Is that the sort of thing you'd like to see for a Carabao Cup game?
If you look at it as a
And
Carabao,
can I add in there, is Cahill finished?
Cahill will be at Chelsea for one more season. He won't be here next season.
So he will.
So this is his final season?
This is his final season
Right,
for
right.
Chelsea, yeah. Yeah, I just didn't answer the question. As for should Ampadu have played, depends how seriously we want to take this competition. Yes. I'll say yes. I actually think he's
I love
Great
how you reeled us
answer.
in
Yeah.
there. The drama, the intake of breath. and then-
exactly. That's how you do it, professional.
Should he have played?
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Oh.
I saw the highlights of him play against the Republic of Ireland the other day, and he looked class, but that was in midfield.
Well, the thing is, every time I've ever
Yeah,
seen Ampadu
against-
play, it's always been in midfield. No, it's always
Against
been
Shane Long.
in defence for Chelsea.
I think it would have been harsh to start him against this calibre of striker.
Yeah.
I know it's not exactly
But
Sana
this is
and
what I like to see,
Firmino,
a
but,
nice
But
text.
is he a centre-back
If he
that can play
handles this
midfield?
strike-
but look at the way like Jukanovic is handling Ryan Sessegnon. Like,
Okay.
don't there's a test and then there's setting him up to
Oh,
fail.
Moses. Great little.
Rolling back the ears there, Victor.
Corner kick, isn't it?
That's a free kick to Liverpool, surely.
It's a goal kick.
Oh,
free kick.
is Alberto all right? Alberto
he's
Moreno
fine.
It's
down.
still 0-0 for those of you
You're
at home.
good mates for Alberto.
Half.
I love Alberto
After the
Moreno.
half an
actually.
hour
He's a
play.
nice guy, Alberto Moreno.
No English, though.
He speaks a little bit.
Joe just kept slapping him.
Yeah, I just kept jumping on him.
Go on.
Fun is a universal language, Duke. So.
You know a bit more about
True.
Ampadu then as well, because he played for Exeter when he was 15.
Yeah,
Which is
I
mental.
don't
Although
understand why he's not playing in these types of competition. I think he should be starting tonight.
How old is he?
18.
17.
Just
Can I
turned
ask,
18.
is he
Just 10. I mean, I do understand.
is he a midfielder that can play in defence or a defender?
Defender that can
midfield?
play in midfield.
Yeah, but he's pretty versatile. He's probably more adept, arguably, as a defensive midfielder in this current system for you because
Yeah.
he's not physically ready to play as a centre-back at this level.
But this is my worry, is when, like, will we do a different approach that we have with most of our youngsters and keep giving them more minutes as the seasons
He
go
should
on?
have
Or
played-
are we going to send him out on loan to the
He
test?
should have
He
played
should have
tonight.
played against Videoton. He shouldn't have played in the Europa League.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be playing against seasoned pros.
I
like
saw him
this.
last season live against Norwich in the Carabao
season
Cup,
pros.
actually.
Yeah, against
and again,
Norwich.
And again, he was very impressive on that day. Like his passing ability. Like,
He looks very
Sarri's
calm on
gonna-
the
He's
ball.
Sarri's
confident, is he?
gonna love it.
Composed. Oh, here we go.
no.
Naby.
Penalty! Oh my
Give us something!
Lord.
I think he's taking a dive there.
Get in there!
I think he's taking a dive.
That's
Love
a
it.
definite pen.
I think Naby's taking a dive.
You know, the tail end of
On the
last
first look.
tail end of last season, he was actually given a few yellows for diving.
He
Was
was.
he?
He
Yeah,
was.
he was.
Naughty Naby, naughty.
Naughty Naby.
Let's have a look. Here comes the replay then.
Sturridge plays
In
nice.
the
Lovely ball by
Naby.
Sturridge.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
you
a
dive!
dive.
He's done. You
Bad
tell him,
dive.
Gary. You tell him.
Book him.
Oh, that is disgusting.
that is
for
outrageous.
Naby.
Big Gas doesn't want to see that in the game, does he?
Straight. The finger was out straight away.
No one's falling for that, Naby.
Thing is, they've got VAR.
Brexit
as
means
well.
Brexit.
Yeah, they do have VAR, so it doesn't really matter too much.
I don't know why
Look
they
at
did that.
what's
when they
Kovacic
got
here?
VAR. I think
Just expect him to go past
He's a
three
Rolls
players.
Royce, isn't he?
I think with VAR they should have retrospective yellows for diving.
100%.
Look at him.
Look at that turn
him.
from Kovacic, and
Well,
off he
that's
goes.
Eden. That is.
Oh shit, it's Eden.
Yeah, it's
Not so
No,
surprising.
it is Kovacic.
Eden
What,
Hazard's-
11?
Yeah,
Oh,
Eden
he's
17.
Eden
I take
Hazard's
it-
not
Careful
playing.
language.
I take it back.
Eden Hazard's not
17.
playing.
Not 11.
Yeah, he's in Hampton's
Eden
side.
Hazard's 10 anyway, isn't it? What am I on about? I've lost
Don't
it.
know.
My head's
but
completely off.
Kovacic is just running.
Chris,
things.
to get
But
you back on track, Brighton fan number 1.
Big up Brighton fan number 1. A great fan. We see all your comments.
And let's keep this quick because it's not even in this country. What is wrong with Celtic?
Brendan, that's what's wrong.
We just haven't really got the squad selection right since. Oh, lovely ball there again from Kovacic. No, it wasn't. 17. Who was that? Cesc.
Was it Fabregas?
Basically, a couple of our better players have seemed distracted after the transfer window. We obviously didn't replace Moussa Dembele. Olivier Encham, who we bought from Manchester City, who looks a hell of a prospect, picked him up for about 4.5 mil. After 6 months, sort of Porto wanted him, and since we turned down,
Has his head gone?
Yeah, a very sizable bid from Porto for him. He's not looked the same player. And we've not replaced Stuart Armstrong, sort of an attacking midfielder that's willing to make runs beyond the forwards.
Is he playing at Southampton?
I don't know if he picked up a knock. I saw
Did
him
you get Paddy
taken
Roberts
off.
back or not?
No, he's gone to Girona.
Yeah.
Girona.
But,
That's a step down for me.
No, but he
Celtic
didn't. In his most recent season with Celtic, he wasn't as prolific as his previous one.
Wasn't he injured or something?
He wasn't starting because James Forrest was having the best patch of his career.
I love James Forrest.
Yeah,
Go on,
he's
Moses.
a really
Beat
good
the
player.
man.
Again,
Beat Moreno.
despite okay numbers, he's not been great at the start of the season.
Oh, Moses!
Victor! That's a great tackle.
Great tackle
That's a
by
phenomenal
Who's that?
tackle.
Lovren, best defender in the
But a
world.
decent win against Rosenborg. I think we'll get back on track and let's stop talking about Scottish football.
Yeah,
Fair.
enough.
Right.
Fabregas here is trying so hard to be like Jorginho, and I feel sorry for him because he has to have so many more touches than Jorginho needs.
Have you been slightly disappointed, Zach, with the limited minutes that Fabregas has got given this season? Because I thought Sarri coming in would be perfect for him.
Well, it would have been perfect if we didn't get Jorginho.
I think
But
Fabregas
I think
is such a good passer.
the problem is
But yeah, he's second rate to Jorginho.
Fabregas doesn't run like Kovacic and Kante can, and that's what he needs. And Jorginho to that fact.
I mean, look, Kante's had to become a different player, hasn't he? Like Cesc, like you said, is a kind of a pale imitation at this point of Jorginho, and kind of he creates more chances from deep anyway, doesn't he? Rather than setting the tempo, resetting the play. But so Kante's his version of
Alan.
And you've got sort of Kovacic playing. This
Diawara.
is keep getting distracted by the play. Diawara didn't really get many minutes last season, but Hamzic. And yeah, you've got Jorginho doing bits at the base of
I
the
think
field.
sometimes you've even got Kante playing in the Hamzik role. I've actually seen Kante further forward than
His heat maps are all
Kovacic.
over the place.
Kante is having a whale of a time. He's getting nosebleeds up front. That's how far forward he's going at the moment.
Well, he's averaging 3 shots a game at the moment. For someone like Kante, that's massive.
mental.
That's more than Romelu Lukaku at Manchester United.
Yeah, but that's not hard. That's
And let's not start Man United again. Let's not start Man United again.
genuinely Kepa is averaging
And
more
I think on
shots
top of
than-
that, Fabregas is getting a lot older,
Lukaku.
and I wouldn't be too surprised if he was to retire soon. I think he's like 33 now.
what
32.
Mane,
Run by
Mane.
Mane, come on, pick someone out. Ooh, get rid of it!
Sadio nearly picking the tree stump out.
I think Christensen sort of fumbled between his legs.
I think also the big thing with Fabregas and Jorginho, like if you watch Jorginho play, he is always trying to give, say like David Luiz or someone else like that safety pass if they ever need it. Whereas I don't feel Fabregas does that. He's not always kind of aware to that. Like, obviously Jorginho's been doing that his whole career. Go and claim that.
So he, rather than ball retention, folks, he sometimes goes for Hollywood.
Exactly.
Yeah, he does it pretty well though. I mean,
Yeah.
last season he was creating 4.5 chances a game.
How many?
Ooh,
There's a
another
good couple of
Fabregas,
ones.
keep the hands down.
another little
Keep him
handy.
like this, man.
VAR having a look? No, come on. That's
Has anyone kind of noticed Fabinho in this game as of yet?
No. He's wearing the number 3, that's what I've noticed, which I'm not happy about.
That is
I think
rotten. Number 3.
Go on,
Chelsea are
Moses.
definitely dominating possession and probably having the better of the chances.
This is
so
at
far.
Anfield as
Fabinho
well.
needs to
This is
sort
at
of get into
Anfield.
the game. I think their press looks quite slack compared to normal. I think Liverpool.
This is
they're giving them a lot of
literal
space.
beating.
Yeah, I mean,
This is literally their beating, whereas a lot of these Chelsea players are our stars.
This is true.
Firmino does an unreal amount of work up front as well.
Yeah, and there's no Salah either, let's not forget.
Some other
Arsenal
scores?
1-0 up against Brentford. I'm going to do an Adam Smithy here. Nottingham Forest 1, Stoke 0. Let's go to another question.
Right.
West Ham 2,
Lads, this is a big question. Prepare your-
Naby!
Caballero.
He has got look that
Willy Caballero.
with that
Or
beard.
makes amends for that horrible dive earlier. What a strike.
I like Willy. I think he's one of the
Mate, he's a great.
I think he's one of the better second choice goalkeepers.
Oh,
in the
Somebody
Lovely.
clip that out, by the way. Somebody
like
clip
Willy.
Hamill out there.
and just gif it.
Oh, it's a good
it's a
save.
cool
It's
save.
like-
I think
like,
I think it
but
is
if he
gettable, though.
if he
It is
concedes
gettable.
that, then it's like, what are you doing? You have to
Yeah.
save that.
Love Willy, mate. Love
Honestly,
it.
with that beard, like he's done well growing that beard out.
Here we go.
Go on, sorry, what's
Go on,
going
no. Question.
Right, big topic, a lot of options here. Il Matic wants to know who is the best striker of the last 10 years. He doesn't specify where.
Ronaldo.
Il Matic is good.
my lord.
He doesn't specify where. Should we go out and out striker? So you can't say Ronaldo.
Yeah,
and
out
Messi.
striker.
How can you not say Ronaldo? Ronaldo's been
best-
out and out striker for the last 3
It'll
years.
just be boring.
The best number 9, are we saying?
Yeah, the best number 9.
I think we all just going to say Robert Lewandowski, Harry Kane, Sergio Aguero.
Harry Kane for the last decade.
Ibra.
I think Aguero is better than Harry Kane.
Oh,
In
lovely
the
from
last
William,
decade.
that.
I'd rather Aguero.
But this season, I'd rather have
37
Aguero in the
minutes
team
in.
for sure.
Aguero or Suarez for me.
Yeah,
But that's just because I like that
Suarez,
kind of
yeah.
Suarez.
bully of a player.
Suarez probably has had 10 excellent years as well. How old is he now? 30, 31?
Since he was 20.
And if we're doing the whole 10 years, Ibrahimovic has got to be in the shout
Ibra's
as
got to
well.
be in there.
Yeah.
It's the whole
I think
10.
it's fair.
Although
Like-
Ibra wasn't really prolific until
PSG.
no, he had a couple of good seasons at Inter, and then
that's true.
AC started to step it up. In the early stage of his career, he wasn't. He was 10, 12.
Yeah,
15.
around there. But yeah, good question, Il Matic.
Lovely name.
And we're going to go more specific on the next one. Do we think Bailly is a good centre-back or not? And that's from Oggy Owain.
Go on, Joseph.
Yeah, go on. I think
Eric Bailly.
So that's like the start of a
he's
horrible tale.
very aggressive, isn't he? He's one of the most aggressive centre backs I've ever seen in my life.
What
I
does that?
think Eric Bailly, with the right coach, could be an exceptional centre half. I do not think he suits a Jose Mourinho
what
deep
coach?
block. I think in a 3,
Lovely
so
to
maybe an
have.
Antonio Conte.
Here we go.
Oh!
What a save!
Willie! That's a fantastic.
You are
save.
right about the beard.
That is a
Very nice.
great save. That's also a fantastic ball.
Whose
from
gloves
Shaqiri
been
here.
better, Caballeros or Zach Jenner?
Good work by
Who
Sturridge
gave
on
that ball there? In the middle, I think it was
Might have been. I'm not too sure. Sorry. That's a lovely ball from
Lovely by
Shaqiri.
Shaqiri.
To be honest, it's
Mane
it's
does
a
well. Mane
phenomenal
does really
save.
Yeah,
well.
it's a
He
lot
can't
more
do-
time.
Caballero reads
He
that
can't do
perfectly.
much more there.
I
He
feel
reads
like
that
he has a
very
lot
well.
more
Yeah,
time than he
that's a
thinks.
great save.
I feel like he can take that down. There's so much time.
What, and then hit it
there.
on the volley?
Yeah.
Or on the half volley?
What were we
Either way,
talking
Do you
good
want a
save.
pizza, by the way?
What were we talking about? Eric Bailly.
We were talking about Eric Bailly, yeah. Eric Bailly under the
deciding
right
what
coach. I'll go. I think he'd be well suited to a 3 at the back system. So I think he'd do well in a Pochettino system in the same respect that Davinson Sanchez has, and I think he'd do well in an Antonio Conte system, where he's supported by 2 slightly more, what's the word, like relaxed centre backs. He flies
Deeper,
out the line. It's the
deeper.
same with Pep Guardiola. He'd do well in a Pep Guardiola system if Pep's playing 3 at the back and he's got the option to come out and press the ball. Bailly
So if
loves
he
to
was
fly out the line.
If he was the Otamendi.
Exactly.
system.
He's very reminiscent of Otamendi first season at City, that he used to fly out the line and just have no control. And maybe that's because he's still young, but it doesn't work when you've got 2 defenders alongside him, one an average
Like from
fullback,
Yeah.
and one a centre back that's not good enough for this level in whoever it is on the day.
Smalling or Jones.
We could go through the list, but none of them are particularly fantastic, are they? Smalling, Jones, Lindelof, Rojo.
I think Lindelof's looked better than last
Is
year.
Rojo still injured?
Rojo is still injured, but
He's not
yeah,
saying much.
Lindelof's looked okay, but again, the system's horrible.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
rank.
it's been.
Doesn't help him.
I suppose it's been.
Oh my god. Oh, thank God.
He's very rash.
You've kind of, if Luke Shaw can maintain form and fitness, you've kind of resolved the left back situation, but at the same time,
think it's a
Lovely
Moses,
turn
great
from
turn.
Moses.
and Antonio Valencia. Let's just stop there. Hello, Carl and Willian.
Put
He
it
looks
right.
really
Right,
lively
look at
at
Barkley.
the start
Look
of
at
the
Barkley.
Right!
Look at Barkley.
Oh,
Oh,
Willian,
for
that is
God's
a
sake,
that is an
Willie.
awful pass.
But at the same time, Antonio Valencia down the right is fast deteriorating. But you've brought this Portuguese kid in, right?
Diogo Dalot,
Dalot.
yeah,
Did
pretty
he get
unknown
Champions League,
quantity,
did he?
isn't he? 19 years old, started last night against Derby.
So is he the long-term heir to Valencia right back?
If you believe Jose Mourinho, he is. Whether or not a new manager, whoever it is that comes in, because there is going to be someone coming in pretty soon, believes in Dalot as much as Jose, I'm not too sure. He's an unknown quality. I haven't watched enough of him to see. He's obviously very good going forward. His
Put a nice ball
crossing
in for
is
Fellaini, yeah.
his crossing is clearly a strong attribute for him.
This is so open.
He put in a ball for a disallowed
Go on,
goal
Chris.
against Young Boys. Last night got the assist for the Fellaini goal in the 96th minute. Very good cross of the ball. Probably suspect going back since he's 19 and this is his first season in the Premier League. And to ask him to do a lot of stuff that way is going to be harsh, isn't it?
That has made me feel old.
Good to give Valencia a bit of a break at times.
Did you just say you feel old?
Yeah.
Valencia was done 2 years
Should have been
ago.
moved on, yeah. Got another question. Glenn Horgan says, did you hear about the Liam Miller match? Yes, we did. Thoughts with Liam Miller and his family. Roy Keane was playing, etc. Looked like a good occasion. Thoughts with them. Ilmatic is back.
Big up
he says,
Ilmatic.
who has a higher ceiling, Kovacic or Naby Keita? Chris?
Ooh.
How old is Kovacic now, though?
I think they might be the same age.
20 both
I think
23?
they're sort of mid-20s, aren't they? I think Keita might have a year on Kovacic, and that is just a guess.
Keita's 23. I don't know
You'll be
how
able
old
to clarify that.
Kovacic is 24.
Kovacic.
You'll be able to
is-
clarify that for me in a minute. Look at that. Imperious home form. Jurgen Klopp won 49 games in home.
Massive.
At home, sorry, as Liverpool manager.
But that means that there was
Not
a stat.
conceded an awful lot since
Kovacic 24.
February, have they, when Van Dijk sort of got embedded in the side.
I have to say that kind of stat, I like to see more of it, because last night there was a stat that popped up. Jose Mourinho, 79 home games as Manchester United manager when going 1-0 up, hadn't lost a single one.
Ooh, ominous.
But
Cursing
how many of them
content
have we drawn 1-1?
Yeah.
Meaty
How many-
tackle there
how
from
many have we
Ross.
drawn 1-1?
Sometimes when the stat doesn't give
Anyway,
the whole story.
back,
Yeah, sorry.
back to the
Kovacic or
question.
Keita?
Back to the question in hand. I mean, they both have. Kovacic probably has a little bit more pedigree, because Keita sort of, while he's fantastically well-rounded, a lot of tackles and interceptions, he contributed towards
You
a
see
lot
Morata?
of
Watch
goals
Morata
in
here
his
as well.
first season, didn't he? When they, not his first season, sorry, but when
Their first season.
when
in the
RB
Bundesliga.
Leipzig were first promoted to the Bundesliga. But that kind of tailed off last season after his move to Liverpool was sort of was finalised in January. So I have kind of been a little bit curious as to what version of Naby Keita we're going to get. He's embedded in really well down the left-hand side. His link-up play is actually a lot more intricate than I maybe gave it credit for, having not watched a lot of RB Leipzig. But just two players that are brilliant to have in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And I think probably we're going to have to wait another 3 or 4 months before I can answer that properly.
Fair enough.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
43rd minute now, still 0-0. What do we think the score's going to be?
I don't know how it's 0-0. It's been
It's
so
so
open.
open. It's been so open.
I think Chelsea are going to win this. I think they've looked far the better
I think
team.
we'll get penalties, boys.
I think that Liverpool win this on the break,
Yes, Christensen.
second half. Oh, wow.
Christensen,
I'm gonna
that
go,
is not a good.
I'll go
He's had a stinker.
2-1 Liverpool.
Shaqiri, don't shoot from there.
2-1 Liverpool.
El
Right, to eat
Stop.
my
2-1
words.
Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool.
I'm going to say Chelsea penalties.
I kind of agree with Joe. I think Chelsea have had the majority of play, but Liverpool have had the better chances,
Yeah.
barring
Quality save from
Morata's first half effort. What is Shaqiri doing there? He's gone full Philip Coutinho, circa 2011.
That's the
Wait,
only
Diggs?
place he's scored.
I
Forward.
think it's going to be Chelsea 1-0,
penalties?
I'm afraid. I think Chelsea have looked far better than Liverpool, but that's just my opinion. Zachary,
Yes,
I know you're a big fan of this next question.
Is it Zidane?
No.
Oh,
it's-
he's in.
Oh,
Wait
wait.
a minute.
Hello!
Sturridge!
Oh, the touch!
Sturridge!
Sturridge!
Not good enough
Not
for
good.
this.
Could he have stretched for
Kick
it?
down.
Not too far
Good
in front.
enough.
Get down to the
Oh.
relegation zone, Sturridge.
Dude, you're almost eating your words for a second
know.
time in this game.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
fuck.
sorry, that's
Oh, my Lord.
yeah, he should be getting his foot over that, definitely.
That.
Oh,
Danny,
it's
that's
lazy
sickening.
touch.
He was looking at the
Lazy.
keeper, should have been focusing on the ball.
Sorry, yes,
Zach,
Doogie.
sorry. Jarrett Fraley
Yes, Jarrett.
says, is Christian Pulisic
Jarrett.
ready for Premiership play? I know you're a big fan of him.
Oh, I love this man so much. I love it more just because he's a really fun player to watch. And I think when I watched last season, Bayern Munich versus Dortmund, where Bayern Munich won, unsurprisingly, he was obviously that standout player. And from what I've seen stats-wise, I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of BVB. I've not watched a single BVB game this year. There's the honesty. but
These are my confessions.
It's an honesty out here.
but from the stats, like again, he's keeping up with the dribbles he's completing, which is
Oh,
ridiculous.
God.
Ross, man.
How are you going for a clean sheet with Chelsea?
No,
when
I said 1-0. Oh, sorry. Yeah, a Chelsea clean sheet, right.
Christensen's almost given away 3 goals in the last 10, 15 minutes.
I've got
But you know what? You know where
got
Pulisic
faith.
would really suit
No, fair enough.
that right wing for Bayern Munich.
really.
If they were to buy him.
They do
Yeah.
hoover up
He's
on
I
that
hope,
talent, don't
I
they?
hope they don't, and I hope he comes to
Has to be on the
Chelsea and he
break.
sits on our right wing.
Recovery, tackle,
But I
my.
doubt that's going to happen.
He's going to end up at
He's
Bayern
going to
Munich.
cost a stupid amount of money, and Bayern will probably get him for like 60 mil somehow.
Fair. Joe, if he did come to the Prem, which club could
He
you
has
see
been
him
linked
at?
with United as well, but then right wing.
Well, Jurgen Klopp tried to get him.
So I watched Tottenham Dortmund last season when
At Wembley?
at Wembley
Yeah, me too.
when Pulisic played. I thought Pulisic was probably the best player in that Dortmund side on the day.
That was a great game.
Played really, really well. So if he can play at that level, he can fit into any of the top 6 teams fairly comfortably for me. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chelsea making moves for him. Pedro's getting no younger, and they certainly need a replacement for Willian. Man United don't really need another young winger, given how many we've currently got, despite the fact we've got a gaping chasm on the right-hand side. Tottenham, obviously, well talked about how thin their forward line actually is when you get past the front three. So,
but Spurs, I mean, he'd be 60 million plus. I don't think Spurs would pay that much.
So you don't need Man City don't need him. Tottenham don't need him. United don't need him. Liverpool don't need him.
Welcome to Chelsea or Arsenal, my friend.
Where does he fit at Arsenal? Arsenal don't need him.
Look, even with Chelsea, I don't know how he's going to feel not having the majority share.
He's not going to come to the Premier League.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I'd love to see him.
He's got Bayern Munich written all over him as a Robben and Ribery replacement.
But when are they actually going to replace him? We've been saying that for like 2 years.
They've been stockpiling money, haven't they? Signing Robben on a new 1-year contract, signing Ribery on a new 1-year contract. Robben might have even been 2. Anyhow, they've still got Coman. They've signed Serge Gnabry. He doesn't really play out wide. Goretzka, not necessarily a wide player, is more of a central midfielder. So yeah, they still do need a bit of cover in the wide areas. So either Bayern or potentially Juventus, but Bernardeschi's been playing really well at the start of this season because they've kind of reverted to a 4-3-3. And this has kind of meant that, weirdly enough, Dybala's been forced out of the team. Bernardeschi's come in. All of Bernardeschi's numbers are better. He's more direct. He's got more pace. He's already contributed to 2 goals, I think, in 2 or 3 starts. And he's kind of dovetailing a lot better with Cristiano Ronaldo. And everything in that side this season is there to facilitate good numbers from Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah, 100%.
So just like Real Madrid.
The ball is kind of frozen out, so maybe we could talk about...
That actually leads beautifully into Christian Sill's question.
Hello, Christian.
Keep your questions coming as well. I know we've got loads of new viewers on the stream right now because it is half-time, so spam the comment section right now
get
with
at us.
questions.
We've got plenty of comments
during this half-time.
Plenty of questions
I'll go and order pizza, what we have.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. Pepperoni
the noise that's going to be making
on
the mic crumblage.
Oh, I'm not bothered. Whatever you guys want.
Quickly then, thank you.
Anything. I'm not too
I'll
stuffed.
have a Mighty Meteor.
Yeah, go on, do
Mighty
that
Meteor.
That one, perfect.
Pepperoni.
I'll also have a glass of water if there's one going, Hamill. A Mighty Meteor and a glass of water.
That's adorable.
So thirsty.
Also, get us on Twitter. We can read them. We can all read those questions as well because we've all got our phones about.
Yeah.
Just do you with the.
Let's do a power 15 minutes. Let's punch out a load of questions from the viewers.
First one, Christian Sills. Sorry I didn't come to you earlier. It was actually earlier in the game, but I hope you're still watching. He says, is Dybala going to move in January? Joe Tomlinson, does Dybala need a way out of Turin?
Dybala won't move in January. He'd cost too much money at that moment in time, but I think he will leave next summer, probably to Real Madrid, as they look to replace an ageing Karim Benzema and need more support for Gareth Bale and Marco Asensio.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. 100%.
I'd be surprised if they didn't have some sort of clause in that deal with Cristiano Ronaldo where they got first dabs on Dybala.
A player of that quality can't be sitting on the bench.
Depending on how this season's go as well, Real Madrid could end up going for Hazard. If we don't get Champions League again, I would not be surprised if he's gone next season.
Oof.
Well, his attitude has been first class.
He has, and I think it's because of Sarri. I think he's literally come in and just loved the fact that he's 1, the main man, 2, we're playing attacking football, and 3, everything is coming through him. And that was maybe a bit of a downfall against West Ham because we tried everything through him. But the majority of the time, it's a good thing, and I think he's loving his football. And as long as he stays, I don't really care.
Where do you guys at home think that Paulo Dybala is going to go in January? Though, make sure you let us know in the comments below. Keep those questions coming. Hit the like button as well and subscribe if you're a new viewer to Football Daily. We've got loads more great content coming over the weekend, over the next few days. Let's get another question.
Right, Brady Morajon says, who is the best centre-back in the world right now? And I'm going to kick this off with my favourite centre-back of the last year or so, Rafa Varane. I think he's really stepped up in the last 12 months. Since Pepe left for Besiktas, he's become that centre-back partner of Sergio Ramos, that consistent centre-back partner. And he calms Ramos down, I think. I think Ramos is so rash some of the time. He flies into challenges. He does actually make a fair bit of defensive mistakes, even though he is very good at going forward with the ball. He's a very good passer, and he takes an absolutely awesome penalty, as we've seen on many times this year. But yeah, I think Rafa Varane, for me, best centre-back in the world. Won the World Cup and the Champions League in about 3 months. I mean, what more can the man do?
I'd say his partner for the national side Umtiti. Like it's either one of them, to be honest. I think for Barcelona this year, he was probably the best one out of him and Piqué, and I feel he's over the next couple of years he's going to become that leader of that team and just become iconic in Barcelona. I think you'll see obviously who's that other French defender Barcelona brought in, Lenglet. They'll be the Longley, yes, that's actually pronounced.
Did a bit of French.
But I think they'll be the duo. You'll see Piqué.
France have actually just got an unbelievable depth.
Well, you saw it in the World Cup in general. France's squad in general are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just a joke.
I'll go for the obvious third choice, although I think it's a pretty tight call between these boys' names, Sergio Ramos and Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah,
not playing tonight. I think Van Dijk has
actually
seriously edged himself into contention. Unbelievable. And I think if you put him in a Real Madrid shirt, he'd probably be Real Madrid's best centre-back.
Yep.
Which is saying something.
Here
and
he
I
is.
think Ramos, I simply have to say Ramos because, for me, he never seems to put a foot wrong.
Really?
Seriously. When was the
Barring the
last
Reds?
time Ramos put a foot wrong?
What are they laughing at?
He does. Yeah, I think he does run out of the line a bit, but.
Yeah, but everyone loves to see a Ramos red card.
So it's either here or
He
zero.
offsets his 0 moments by match-winning goals.
Yeah,
True.
he
He
does.
does
His
step up
record's
on big
stupid.
occasions. And
Incredible. Let's
he's a
get
great
another
leader.
question then.
Right, Vishal Thiakarajan, thank you very much for your question.
Great
He says, do you guys think Mitrovic might continue his form and bag in 15 to 20 goals this season?
15 to 20?
No,
I've got a bit of apology to say to Mitrovic because I said
He's
wasn't,
been waiting for it.
he wasn't, yeah. Sorry, Alexander. I said he wasn't good enough to lead the line in a Premier League side, and I think he is. On reflection, I think he's played well so far. This started the season well with Fulham. 15 to 20 goals though is a bit much for me. Hamill, what do you think?
Mitrovic, his numbers are good. He's averaging, I think, around 3 to 4 shots a game in the Premier League, so he's not short of opportunities. Fulham are having a bunch of shot in games as well. I think Schürrle had 11 the other day against Burnley, which is absolutely mental. That's like C-Ron numbers. But if he can get 10 to 12, that would be a great season. And if a side who's come up has a striker who scores that amount of goals, that normally bodes extremely well for survival. But for him, what he's probably got that other strikers of the past coming up to the Premier League haven't got is brilliant service with real sort of pedigree.
Yeah.
So Seri, I think he's been a great signing. I like Tom Kearney. Tom Kearney. Schürrle's looked useful when he's kind of come on as a bit part player. Vieto was quite a smart loan signing because it means that Sessegnon gets a rest like we talked about earlier. But
have you guys been surprised by Ryan Sessegnon's sort of relative lack of game time?
who do you think's going to get more goals, Jimenez or
Mitrovic.
Mitrovic, because
I'd probably say Jimenez.
I think Mitrovic because he is the target man, the fulcrum. I think Jimenez, I think it was well displayed against Manchester United how he is used by Nuno Espirito Santo. He's not necessarily a goal scorer. He is a link man, hold-up player looking to bring better players into the game.
I thought Costa was superb in that game.
And I think you'll see a lot of the players around him get like 5 to 10 goals. Probably Moutinho, Neves,
we saw his
Helder Costa all chip in with
clocked
5
his
to
numbers
10.
on winners and losers, didn't we?
Yeah.
30 completed passes in the Man United at half, which was the most out of any Wolves player.
Yeah.
Which, when you consider they've got Neves, Moutinho, these kind of meticulous passes,
Yeah.
it just shows you
If
how
he gets
important
10
he is.
goals, Jimenez, and I think Mitrovic gets between 10 and 15 goals. Both of them have had great seasons.
Yeah. Zach, who do you think will finish above each other, Wolves or Fulham?
Wolves will finish above Fulham easily.
Right, for sure.
Wolves, they're actually a delight to watch,
They are.
which is nice.
A delight.
I think that obviously the money they've spent is no surprise that they're as good as they are. But I think we keep saying like they brought in all these Portuguese players, but at the end of the day, they've brought in decent quality Portuguese players who have been able to play well together. And the manager's done a really good job. I see.
Zach's a Remainer.
Yeah.
Let's get another question then, Dukes.
Right, Christopher Ortiz. We're going back.
Go on,
No,
Ortiz.
well, actually, we'll skip a United question for now. We're going to Thomas's. He says, what do you think of the FIFA best? Do you think Mbappe deserved to win the award for best player instead of Modric, seeing as how great he was as during the World Cup? Well, Mbappe wasn't actually up for the award. It was Ronaldo, Modric, and Salah.
Did you watch it?
I didn't actually, no.
Oh, right,
Apparently, it was a bit of a shit show. But what did you guys think of how the awards went in general? Courtois getting the
Didn't
award,
watch
but
it.
not
It
in
just
the
didn't make-
FIFA
it didn't-
11.
Watch The
Yeah.
Bodyguard instead.
I watched
shout.
a little bit of it and then watched, again went and watched The Bodyguard on.
I think they obviously selected it based heavily on the World Cup. So obviously
Mm-hmm.
David De Gea, the best goalkeeper in the world. I don't think anybody can even deny it at the moment.
Thibaut Courtois,
It's
how
not-
is he getting the best goalkeeper?
Well, because he won the Golden Gloves at the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's the reason that he's taken.
But
out that
doesn't it
one.
make a farce of it if they don't then include him in the World 11?
This is it. This is what
I don't
everyone's
understand the
confused
award.
about.
I don't
I
understand it. And
believe it's because the World 11 was done over the course of the season, but the number one main awards were primarily based on the World Cup.
Well,
Oh,
they
makes
were
sense.
officially based on the World Cup.
Not
They won't say
officially,
official, but
So
but
why
as
didn't he just win the
FIFA
Golden Gloves at the World Cup?
Why-
Who was the best goalkeeper at the World
Yeah,
Cup?
Thibaut Courtois won the
well,
Golden
apparently,
Gloves.
probably thought it was Lloris, but
Golden Gloves went to Thibaut Courtois at the World Cup.
At the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's
so,
why
so
he
if,
won
if,
the
if he's
World
won them, why did then the FIFA, the same organisation, need to have another award ceremony with the same criteria?
It's just how it is, isn't it?
Shocking.
I dunno.
But
Sort it out.
real-
De
The real
Gea went in
Infantino.
the 11. De Gea was in the 11.
yeah, he was. The real farce I thought was that Dani Alves was included, and he got injured in March and didn't go to the World Cup. And Joshua Kimmich didn't get
And,
it. And he
Well,
played
it should have
so-
been Kyle Walker.
Yeah, Kyle Walker as well could have been in there ahead of Daniel Alves. I didn't get that.
And
at all.
Salah's goal didn't even win Premier League Goal of the Month.
It is
Let's not
and
get
it
Salah
won
on
the
Puskas
Puskas
award.
Award.
But it's why they didn't like. We could say like, oh, the Egyptian. Obviously, it's fan voted, and like the Egyptian and Liverpool fans went mental. But it's the fact that they picked that goal and not the one against like Watford or the one against City.
Yeah.
From, like, the
It was an
halfway
odd
line.
selection.
All that Bales wasn't included at all.
Yeah, that was. Well, we've already moaned about that like several times
Yeah.
now.
Right,
Ridiculous.
we're coming up to the start of the second half as well, so let's keep the questions
Yeah.
flowing. Hammer them in the comments below, dudes. Let's go on to the next one.
Stealthy Ninja, thanks for getting in touch. He asks, or she, who do you think is the best young player in the world except for Mbappe?
I will go
So
out.
anyone under 23.
Usman Dembele.
Usman Dembele. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say Leroy Sané.
You think Leroy Sané is better than Usman Dembele?
I do.
Wow. Clip that out along with me saying I love Willie, because that's just as bad.
I just think Leroy Sané has more to his game than Usman Dembele. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I haven't watched enough of Usman Dembele to put
He was injured for a bit.
put
I think
across
it's a crazy
100% of an
assumption.
opinion. But Leroy Sané last season was outrageous, and Usman Dembele was injured. So I'm going to go based on last season that Leroy Sané, if not Kylian Mbappe, is the best
I
young
just
player in
think
the
he's
world.
a step up. I know what you're saying makes perfect sense, and his contribution in the Premier League last season was fantastic. But if we're talking about
Especially at 22.
their ceiling, I feel like when I watch
In terms of ceiling, I think Usman Dembele's is higher.
yeah,
but
I
in
feel-
terms of right now, I'll go Leroy Sané.
I feel like when I watch Sané, sometimes he feels like the one player in that City side that doesn't feel entirely Pep. He feels a little bit individualistic, and he can have a brilliant game, but unlike say a Bernardo Silva maybe or a David Silva, he can also have a stinker and be non-existent. And I feel like he's probably like Trent Alexander-Arnold did an absolute job on him. Was it in the Champions League?
Was it?
Or-
Yes, in the quarter-final, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And I feel like when he comes up against an extremely competent fullback or a bit of a game plan on him, he kind of he's maybe easier to manage than an Usman Dembele.
The fans are disagreeing with you and agreeing with Joe.
Fair play.
Right.
Fans are
Yes, I
saying-
think it's a tight one. It's
And
a
that's
tight
why
one.
we
We'll
love the
put-
beautiful game.
We'll put a poll out on Twitter as who
Yes.
you would go for. I'll tweet it right
live
now. Who would you put out?
I've got my phone.
Who would you select? Sane, or would you go for Usman Dembele? It's a very tight call. Both of them exceptional young players, aren't they? So
Right.
it's hard to say.
Next question, just before half-time kicks off, we got Pookham trainer Sid, and he says, do you think Arrizabalaga has adequately replaced Courtois? And what do you guys think about David Zappacosta? Do you want to kick this off, Zach?
Yeah, I think the thing with Arrizabalaga is he's not made a mistake yet, or a high-profile mistake, which has caused people to go, look at all that money and like blaming him, which is a good thing. But he's also, I wouldn't say, pulled off ridiculous saves which have kept us in the game.
Yeah, he
he's
hasn't
been
had to,
he's
has
been
he?
absolutely fine, and I think that's partially due to Chelsea's defence and partially due to him making the saves that he has to make, and the goals that we've conceded have been goals which you wouldn't really expect a keeper to save, or if they do, it's an unbelievable save. As for Zappacosta, I've forgotten the question for him.
What do you guys think? What do you think about him?
Well, the problem with Zappacosta is he wants to play right back, and
He's not good enough.
one, not good enough, and two, has to try and get Cesar Azpilicueta out of that squad. He's been in that squad since Mourinho was there, and probably since before that, since 2012, 2013. He's been our arguably most consistent, most best player since we signed him.
I think it's quite interesting that Azpilicueta seems to not be pushing on as much as he used to. I don't know whether that's because Marcus Alonso is going absolutely crazy on the other side.
If we attack down the left,
Azpilicueta is sort of tucking in a bit more than he used to and forming a sort of three, and seems to be doing an adequate job. But yeah, Zappacosta
he was good for Conte's system. He's not good for Sarri's system.
Was he even good in Conte's
As in, like, he was a good backup for
he was a good backup.
Moses.
I think he's an able backup. But on Kepa, fair play to Kepa. You come for a world record fee, and for no one to be talking about your move 6 weeks later and complaining about it, I think that shows he's done a good job.
Oh my God!
It's Torres all over again.
Danny Sturridge.
It's Torres versus United vibes.
Oh my God!
He rangs the keeper.
What on earth has
Doogie, say it.
happened?
Doogie, explain it.
So Kovacic puts it through. Who's that?
Cahill.
Is it
Christensen.
No, it's Christensen. Sturridge runs the keeper, open goal, and he's about 2 metres away.
On his right, he just uses his right for climbing the stairs. That is amateur hour.
That's his
Come
peg.
on,
That's
Danny.
his peg leg.
There it was. That was the goal. We sent Christensen in the first half.
No,
as
fair
well.
play to Caballero as well there. Caballero
Poor
gets a hand on
guy.
the
We've
ball.
been bigging him up before half time. Well.
Look at Jurgen.
Klopp looks like he's seen a ghost.
Klopp's face is all over the gap.
Don't get Doogie
Oh my
started on
God.
goals.
Oh God, don't.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Mate,
yeah.
also, I want to say there, I said it just a second ago, Caballero gets a hand on the ball there to make it further for Sturridge, which essentially puts it wide.
Just one goalkeeper, one great goalkeeper.
As in what
appreciate
pushes
another.
pushes it wide for the
Yeah, it means that he has to then
But you can't,
make
you
a
know.
bit of an angle for it.
He's
so
got to score that.
well done, Caballero.
That's been coming, that error. That error, and this is why
Blimey.
I don't think Chelsea are going to keep a clean
This
sheet.
is why Christensen's not in the squad. This is why Christensen's not in the squad.
We were
it's
bigging up
harsh
before
because
the
I do
game
like
as well.
Christensen.
Yeah,
still,
but if he's doing that, he's done that. But he's already done that this game. And if he's doing that twice a game and we're
Such
conceding 2
Kovacic
goals,
actually moves a bit like Hazard, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Kovacic. I always get
they're
Kovacic
similar
confused with Hazard.
they're
when
similar
he-
sort of sizes. Here we go.
Morata!
that's a hard header. He's
That
jumped.
is. He has to
But
score.
that's Morata bread and butter.
That is.
I don't understand why he's not jumped.
He's moving away from goal.
The ball from
That
William. Watch
sums
it
him
outside
up
the boot.
perfectly.
Is that what the
Morata.
outside is? What a ball from Williams.
Zach, tell us what went wrong with
my
that.
So
God.
William has put a beautiful ball on the outside of his foot into the box, and unfortunately Morata has just stood and essentially just headed it over the bar.
5 yards out.
If
free header.
If Morata jumps and kind of heads it down, it's a goal. I don't understand his decision making, man. I don't know what it
Such a
is.
bad
He's one of those
finish.
players I only want good things for,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you know when you only want good things for a player, it tends to go horribly.
Exactly. Like Fernando Torres.
That's
when he
such a
joined.
vile finish.
That was not nice.
This giving me heart palpitations.
What a
whatever
start!
the word
What a
is.
start to the second half.
know.
No, you've absolutely smashed it.
I can't believe Danny Sturridge missed
Everyone
that
breathe.
chance.
We need a
That was
second.
mental.
Doogie, give us a calm question.
Okay. A to Z Music asks,
Lovely name.
who is the best player to never play for a top team? I'll give you a bit of time on this.
A to Z.
Quite a tricky one, A to Z.
The best player ever. Should we just go Premier League?
Who's
Yeah.
that?
So who never won a best player never to win a Premier
Darren
League?
Huckabee.
Well, no,
Best
that's
to
obviously
never win a
Gerrard
Premier
probably,
League.
but
Stevie G.
Who? I've forgotten his name. The Southampton striker.
Matt
Brilliant. Yeah. Letizia?
Letizia is a good shout.
He was
Stevie
quite
G's
low
the best
down.
player never to win a Premier League.
Oh.
But never to play for a top side, right?
Never to play. Never
Well,
to
he's
win a
saying Premier League top. Let's say
let's
what
go
the question
modern
was,
era as
yeah.
well. This question needs narrowing down. It needs
The
refining.
in fact, it's a terrible question. Let's just
Next
spin
one.
it off. Go to the next
Okay.
one.
That's a lovely touch from our mate mine, isn't it?
okay, Joe.
If it was like current player,
Okay.
what would we say like current player
Oh, bin it. Go to the
outside the
next
top
one.
6? A to Z. He's taking the time to
Ruben
send
Neves
it
is
in.
the
A
best
to
player in the
Z.
Premier League outside the top
A
six.
to Z, I think it's probably Jamie Vardy or indeed.
He's Jamie Vardy's won the Premier
I was
League.
thinking Jamie Vardy, but indeed he's a very good shout.
I love
I think
Indeed.
indeed he
Or
could do
Idrissa
an
Gueye, but
absolute-
not playing that well
Ruben
at the moment.
Neves.
Oh right, yeah, okay. Well, we have
Ruben
to.
Neves
Yeah.
could slot
Jeremy
straight into the
Tino.
top six.
Hard question, lots of opinions.
Ruben
Oh,
Neves is-
lovely football.
Emerson on the run.
Here we go. Emerson's down the wing. It's still 0-0.
I
48th
didn't see
minute.
enough of Emerson in the first
Emerson
half.
to Willian.
Ruben.
Great touch.
Lovely, boys.
Oh.
Get the ball!
There are so many errors
Errors,
from both
like,
strikers at the
Calm down,
moment.
Jalab.
Ruben
Somebody
Neves
get
has been
Jalab
linked with
defibrillator.
a January move to Manchester City. What do we make of that?
Fabregas.
I think it'd be great for Man City. I think they need more cover in
ugly.
deep lying midfield. I think Fernandinho needs replacing, not this year but next year. I think the only reason Pep didn't sign a defender, didn't try too hard after not getting Jorginho was because of the strength of Fernandinho's performances last year.
Isn't it weird that he's made a couple of errors at the start of the season?
Really weird.
I remember Gerrard.
Very unlike him.
Really.
Really
I
weird.
remember Gerrard saying that when he got to a certain age, Brendan Rodgers showed him a video, and it was Gerrard not checking over his shoulder when a player was coming from behind him, which is kind of happening to Fernandinho at the start of this season.
He's becoming less
when
aware.
Players have put pressure on him. We saw it in the Champions League against Lyon. We saw it when Wolves really pressed Manchester City and they kind of forced him into an error there. I don't know if it's just part of ageing out as a pro. Maybe you're compensating physically, so part of your mental game is affected.
I mean, Wolves came to the Man City game with a really good game plan. I actually don't think Man City, except for the teams that you'd expect them to batter, have really taken off this year. But they're still winning games, they're still right in contention. But I don't think Man City have been as impressive as Liverpool for the first 6 games. Let's not go over excited. And they're obviously missing their key man in De Bruyne. So if Liverpool can get De Bruyne's comeback 6 points ahead, I think that's title race on, and I think it's going to be really fascinating.
Kovacic needs to be careful. He's going to get sent off. I reckon he's going to get hooked.
He took one for the team, man. Has been given the yellow card just about a minute ago.
And now he's giving away a second foul within a space of 2
He's
minutes.
basically a foul away from being sent off.
I think he needs to be hooked, Kovacic.
Bring on Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Is Jorginho on the bench?
Yes.
Because Chelsea could do with a bit of control this game.
But then
In this game, because Liverpool will, I think, are edging closer and closer to a goal.
To be honest,
mind you, Morata's got to score that header.
But Morata hasn't. The problem, I don't understand why he's not jumped in. If he jumps in the air, it's an easy header.
Flat.
Is he not in the air?
He didn't.
Nah,
he kind of stood.
It was a more difficult opportunity than maybe.
Oh yeah, no, it's harder than making.
Right, Franco's asked a question.
Go on.
Hopefully not General Franco. He says, who will finish higher, United or Arsenal?
Oh,
this is a really good question.
That's a lovely question.
I mean, on current form,
Shaqiri, take a bow, pingers.
on current form, you'd probably
Mane's
think
on the edge of
Arsenal,
the
but
box.
surely not.
Good ball, Moreno. Clips it back. Sturridge.
Oh, they're standing
come
in
on.
the same place. Mane and Keita occupying the same place at the back stick.
I'm going to say,
Willie!
no way will he save that.
Was he off?
No, he came from a Chelsea player.
It came off a Chelsea header.
It's come from a Chelsea header.
It's a Chelsea
Who is
header
this
again.
Moron. It's Marata, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's a Chelsea header here.
It's
Ross, what are you playing at?
What a save.
Willie Caballero is a statue
I
outside
think he
Stamford
saves that
Bridge.
with his toe.
Yeah.
Little heel.
Little
Little
heel,
flick. Saturday Night Fever.
Boy, Willie, just shout at them, man. They've got to behave.
Right, we'll have this corner and then we'll get back to United.
This is ridiculous.
In swinging ball.
Go!
Edging closer.
How's he not scored?
How?
What a chance.
Boys!
Guys, there is goals in
This
this
should
game.
be 3-1 to Liverpool.
What a chance.
Yeah, my 1-0 prediction. Not looking too
But it
good at the
worries me
moment.
because
Has that come off a Chelsea player?
Come off of Mane.
Yeah.
No, it's come off Morata.
Morata.
That's
then.
Morata.
They're not
That's the
gonna use
closest
it.
Morata's been
You
scoring.
went proper
Came
exit
off
and
like
then
this.
you went,
That's the closest Morata's
How
been
worrying
scoring.
is this that like even our first team
another
defence
corner.
wasn't great
Come on, Big Shaq.
and our second team is terrible.
Oh.
That's a goal.
Oh.
Right,
You
what's
know
the,
how I jump it.
What's the
question?
pizza
What's
doing?
the
Right, Franco asks, who will finish higher, United or Arsenal?
Right, so right now, Arsenal are going to finish higher than Manchester United.
Yes.
Man United aren't beating the top 6. They can't win games at home. And at the end of the day, it's your home form that is the most important thing about any top 6 or top 4 title charge.
Hazard's warming up.
It genuinely is. One thing that got David Moyes the sack quicker than anything else was when he started losing and drawing at home. And Jose's home form has gone from 30 games unbeaten, winning 26, 27 of them, to being a shambles this season, getting played off the park by Derby and Wolves.
That's a good point.
Well, you're like goals-wise, your output's like LVG with none of the defensive solidity at the minute.
And also, let's not forget that
Leading on.
Good God.
53 minutes in, he's going for Eden.
Brave, man.
let's not forget as well that I think Arsenal, against teams outside the top 6 at home, are unbeaten or have won 24 on the bounce. They are specialists at winning games at home. Man United are currently specialists at drawing against low half teams.
That's at home, yeah. Arsenal's home form.
He's in again.
What is he doing?
Jimbo, Arsenal's home form has been great.
This Chelsea
Gary
High
Cahill,
This
man.
Chelsea High line is getting caught out. So
Yeah, if
Because they're not used to
If
it.
Arsenal can sort out their away form, they'll put them in good stead because they had the second best home form last season after Manchester City. And I think this Torreira-Xhaka midfield is going to be better, is going to be more solid than Guendouzi, Xhaka, which I wasn't sure of at the start of the season. But Guendouzi positionally is still a little bit green. Xhaka has to manoeuvre him around the pitch. Torreira is a defensive midfielder with elite output, and Granit Xhaka is much, much better going forward. Stepping out of the sort of deep position in midfield, and he actually delivered the third most successful passes into the opposition, into the final third last season after Mesut Ozil and I think it was De Bruyne that made it.
Did you see
so elite company there?
Did you see Petr Cech's comments this week saying that Arsenal under Wenger sort of lost? They weren't hard enough on themselves, and they didn't criticise each other enough. They were too happy to accept mediocrity. And he said that Emery's come in and instantly said, "No, this is Arsenal. We are gonna, not accept anything else than the best from now on." And he says there's been a complete change of culture around the place, which I found quite interesting and slightly surprising as well. Zach, have you noticed anything slightly different about Arsenal this season compared to last year?
Quick comment, by the way. Eden has just come on for Willian, so we're going for it.
And our stream stopped for about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and also Kieran typed Google into Google
to see if the internet was working.
and I had to talk about Guendouzi. But moving on, what do we think of Arsenal then, Zach?
Arsenal have a very good front line in Aubameyang and Lacazette.
They're always going to be in games, aren't they?
They've got the players there. I just think now, obviously, because of having Arsene Wenger for 20 plus years, they need to take a minute. Arsenal fans need to realise, look, you're not going to go win the Premier League straight away, because if you did, it would be an unbelievable achievement. You need to give it one,
I don't think any Arsenal fans are expected to win, are they?
No, and obviously they want to get back into like the Champions League and stuff like that.
I think
But
Arsenal
even
stand
that
a
might be
great
a
chance of getting into the top 4 this season ahead of time.
They do, but even that I feel might be a bit of that'd be a very good achievement from Emery if he did that. I think if they get back in top 6, I think that's what they can hope for.
I don't think it gets any worse than 6th.
Yeah.
Everton.
Great turn.
Oh, Willie! Oh, sorry, Zach.
Can't believe
Sturridge
just
celebrate
made
right
the
in your
men.
face.
Daniel
Sturridge.
Danny!
He can miss an
Over
open
kick.
goal, but he then pulls that out.
Just to walk you through this
I
one.
called it as well, man. I said
Oh,
it
what a
would.
goal. Well played, Daniel.
Sadio Mane turns in the box. Willie Caballero makes a great save, palms it up, and Danny Sturridge
I want to see if Caballero can do more.
Overhead kick into an open net. 1-0 to Liverpool.
Who's that getting
Great
turned?
play by Sadio Mane.
Is that Gary Cahill getting turned?
Question marks over Willie Caballero.
Look, he's
It's
done enough.
harsh,
He's done
it's
enough
harsh.
already this game. One mistake is
He
bad.
has, you're right.
Fabregas
What
gives the ball away.
a-
Azpilicueta gives the ball away.
Do you know, that's been coming so much
Mane could
because you've been
turn.
putting yourself under so much
beautiful.
pressure.
There's your 1-0
This is
now.
what I mean.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is what I
See you
mean.
later, what to do.
I don't even feel that
About to be giving my
confident
people's
about
five.
Chelsea's first team defensive line in David Luiz, Rudiger, Azpilicueta. I do quite enjoy, and Alonso. I still get worried about David Luiz at the back. Yes, he can play passes, and so can Rudiger as well. And if that's what Sarri needs,
He's
then
better
fair
than a
play.
5, I think.
But Milner's come off, which is
Jimbo.
who's he come off for? That's the question.
He's already 3 goals
Henderson.
into his proposed 8 that you reckon he's going to get this season.
Who?
Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah,
Daniel
it's not-
Sturridge. Yeah, I'm going to go 8.
Pizza!
So get out.
There we go.
I'll quickly finish what I was saying. Yeah, so now we're playing our second back line plus Azpilicueta, and it's not looking good. Christensen, we want to be one of the world's best defenders, and I'll be honest, at the moment he's made 2 mistakes.
I don't think Gary Cahill's
should
looked
be
very
leaving.
solid either.
Gary Cahill, I don't know why he's still at Chelsea. I'll be honest.
But in this game, second half, we're 15 minutes into the second half, and all you've done is put yourself under pressure. All of Liverpool's chances
that.
have come from Chelsea errors at
Chelsea
the back.
errors,
We've
and
had
playing
2
that high
Ross
line.
But
Barkley
this is what I mean.
mistakes, a Christensen mistake, and now an Azpilicueta mistake.
I
Right,
feel
lads,
it's
we've had
because-
loads of questions come in, so I'm
Go
going to
on.
interrupt you there.
Go on.
Joachim Hagen Larsen, sorry if I butchered your name, he says, who is the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the Premier League?
Ooh,
Definitely Edison. It's not even a question.
Got to get well.
Edison
Edison's
was alright until
so
he did
far
that
ahead
thing.
of anyone else.
No, I agree. I think it's Edison.
I want to see more of Alisson's ball playing because last year his stats with Roma were really impressive.
But then he did try to. He did make a
But
mistake.
you know
against,
that mistake against Leicester was
yeah.
pretty horrible, wasn't it? So
I'd go
Edison it is.
Edison.
All right. Okay. What do we think on the goalkeeper theme? Brighton fan number 1 says, "What do we think of Leno not starting ahead of Cech?"
You know what? To Czech's defence, he actually has been. Oh my God, he actually has been quite good for Arsenal. Apart from that
Look
one
at that.
game where
he
he
put himself under pressure again.
Shaqiri.
Boys.
Oh,
so
so
wild.
selfish.
Basically,
Wild.
Chelsea have gone, screw this, we're not playing football right now. No, but as I was saying about Cech, he has been okay. Apart from one game where he passed it into his own net, he's been solid.
Nearly passed him to zone net.
And Leno, I think
He played.
it's going to be a gradual thing. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the season Leno is starting and they They kind of swap over January and stuff.
I think
like
he
that.
had a really good game against Everton at the weekend. I think he made 6 saves, which was pretty crucial. Benny asked Joe, specifically to you,
Hey, Benny!
which Premier
Love
League
you.
player is most likely to win the Ballon d'Or next?
Eden Hazard.
Oh, the pizzas are
Definitely
here, boys.
Eden
Straight up,
Hazard.
not Mo Salah.
Eden Hazard is the outstanding player in the Premier League. Now, Mo Salah had a fantastic season, but the front line of Liverpool share the goals around more than Eden Hazard
Just keep your
at
hand up.
Chelsea. That's for sure.
Not sponsored by Domino's. If you would like to sponsor us.
No, that was 70 quid. We're definitely not sponsored by Domino's.
Go and get some glasses for the Coke.
Yeah.
Harry Kane could be in for a shout with the Ballon d'Or.
We
if
have
he
spoken
moves-
so
Yeah,
much.
that's a good shout.
If he moves away from Spurs, because he's got age
give
on his
us.
side, Harry Kane. Whereas Eden Hazard, what is he, 27 now? If he moves at the end of this year, he'll be 28. Going into, I can only really see Eden Hazard at Real Madrid, and then he's playing with Bale, and he's probably be ahead of him. So I can't really ever see Eden Hazard winning a Ballon d'Or, actually. But I could see Harry Kane if he went to Real Madrid, scored 40 plus goals for a couple of years.
But you've just said then that Eden Hazard went to Real Madrid. The goals will be shared around more. So
No, but because Hazard would play on the wing, and he wouldn't look as good as Bale. I don't think Hazard's as good a player as Bale. Big statement.
that's such a big statement.
I mean,
Well,
they're two different players, though, I feel.
Well, they're both
Hazard's a lot
forwards.
more. Okay, if you put it into that terms.
Oh.
Barkley's through! Barkley's done nothing with
Ross
the ball.
Barkley's had
Great
such a
cover from-
horrible second half.
Great cover
Let's
from
get another
Liverpool.
question. Benny, sorry, I didn't answer that.
We're kind of eating at the same time now. We're going to be less focused.
Oh my god.
Hot.
Right. Christopher
Down that
Ortiz
That's so hot.
says, excluding Zidane, who would you like to see manage Man United?
Zidane.
No, excluding. Come on.
Zidane.
Play with Christopher Ortiz's question.
Eddie Howe.
No Zidane.
Christopher Ortiz, I know you don't want Zidane. I don't know why you don't want Zidane. Let's get Zidane. Triple Champions League winner in as many years. Get Zidane.
Right, okay.
If you can't have Zidane, then I'll have
Christopher, I can
Pochettino.
only apologise.
I'll have Pochettino then.
Fine.
Quick one. Chelsea have taken this very seriously now. We've just taken off Kovacic for Kante.
Interesting.
Yeah, but we said that was
We've got
coming
what-
because he's on booking.
Do you have 4 subs in the Carabao?
No, you have 3. No, you only have 4 after extra time. There's no extra time in the Carabao.
Thanks very much for bringing these down, Chris. Look, excellent.
You're welcome.
Smashed it,
One of you's
Hamill.
grateful.
Right.
Very appreciated.
Next question.
Thanks, Chris.
Next question
Yes, DG.
comes from sorry,
Good.
sorry, it comes from Lampard for Life, and they say to anyone who watched the Derby Man United game yesterday, how impressed were you with Frank Lampard's Derby side, and is that an indication that he could be a top manager?
Do you want to cough now and have a drink, Dukes?
Yeah, you guys answer. I'll cough.
Sorry, I missed that.
It's
How impressed were
basically
you
how-
with Frank Lampard's side? Do you think he can be a top?
I didn't
I
actually
didn't-
watch the
I
game.
didn't
Did you watch the game? Did you watch the
No.
game? So I'll take this question. I think Frank Lampard set his team out perfectly last night for a game against a team like Manchester United who are going to sit back. Even though we are playing Derby County at home, we still play 2 defensive midfielders. Unbelievable. And a back 4. 6 at the back effectively at times against Derby County. It was an effective tactic by Frank Lampard. How he used Mason Mount to drift in between the lines. What was the lad's name who scored the free kick? Wilson played really well in between the lines as well. Didn't really have an out-and-out striker, was kind of how they played on the day. Lots of drifting parts, and it worked perfectly. So if that's anything to go by, it's good, because at the end of the day, last night, Frank Lampard, who's been a manager for 4 months, tactically outclassed Jose Mourinho. And that is as damning as you can get of
That's a
Jose
statement and a
Mourinho.
half.
There we have it.
Fair enough.
That's as damning as you can get.
Right. Next question comes from Jose No More, and I guess you can guess the theme of this. He says, if Mourinho would get the sack, where would he go? And I'm going to start this one off because I've been thinking about this in the office for a while. And I was actually thinking, I was actually thinking Everton for a while, but I've actually worked out that the only place that I can see Mourinho going is Inter Milan. He is an absolute hero there after his treble-winning season in 2010. He gets on really well with Massimo Moratti, who I don't think is still the Inter president, but he still holds a lot of power there. I'd go Inter Milan, but Spalletti. Well, actually, Inter have started the season really badly, so
Yes.
if Spalletti was to move on, this could actually tie in quite nicely. What do you think of that, Chris?
I think that's a bloody good shout.
I'd be. No, I agree with Joe. That is a good shout. I could also see him maybe returning to Porto, maybe go to the Portuguese national side. The thing about Inter is his remit would be different there. His remit wouldn't be to win Serie A, at least not for another 2 or 3 years, because they are still rebuilding a squad, aren't they? I mean, they've spent a sizable amount this year, maybe overpaying for someone like Nainggolan, and you're right, they have started poorly, and it's been odd because they finished so strongly, so dramatically. I think the mood around the camp was better than it has been in a number of years, but it's now harder than ever to get in the Champions League in Serie A. For the first time in a long time, 1 or 2 really good teams will miss out.
So I don't think he will go to anywhere like PSG, Porto. I think even Inter Milan is a bit of a struggle for him, based on his wage.
Oh, okay.
Huge wage, Jose Mourinho.
Surely he'd have to take a drop down.
He would definitely have to take a drop down from Man United, who are paying him £15 million a year.
Wow.
So yeah, he would have to take a drop down there. But equally, Porto are not going to be able to afford the drop down he'd be willing to accept.
I think he needs a year out, man.
Porto's like a
Take a
coming
break.
home job, though, isn't it?
I
That's
think-
where you
So
have
is
the
that your-
sentimentality.
Too early.
You're
though, for
recommending, have a sabbatical,
If-
put your feet up on a beach for a year.
Seriously, we saw like the Pep Guardiola did it before he went to City, and it seemed like we don't actually know if it helped or not, but like I think if
Pep went
he's
to
been,
America, he played a lot of chess.
but if he's
Had
been
lunch with Sir Alex
if he's been a
Ferguson.
manager now for such a long time, since 2004 or however long it was, like take a year out, just relax, get rid of
Or
don't
an
think
Argella.
about football. Okay, talk to the kids, see how they're doing.
I also think that's a good idea.
But I think like
Genuinely,
just
he
so
needs
he
a
can,
year out.
because how many
His
times
head's
now?
gone.
Third season syndrome. Okay, take
The
a year
worrying
out
thing
and then
now
come
is,
back.
in a press conference, is he's totally like devoid of charisma. He's
Yes.
actually just a little bit nasty.
He's lost all the things that made him him. He used to base his management style all around loyalty and getting the players on side and creating like a siege mentality. That's why he was so successful at Chelsea the first time round. And ever since he went to Real Madrid, he seemed like he's, fallen out with players wherever he's really gone. Chelsea, Real Madrid, now Man United, not pretty at all.
Man United will be a Chelsea situation where it's him versus the players, and the players always win. Exactly the same happened with Eden Hazard as it's happening right now with Paul Pogba. He got to the stage where Eden Hazard was nearly leaving the club. There was massive problems between Hazard and Mourinho. Exactly the same way there are massive problems between Pogba and Mourinho now. And at the end of the day, players always win. Player power rules.
There we have it. What's the start of this second half been like? Because I've just been looking at this meeting.
Liverpool have been slapping us about, basically. I've not seen one decent Chelsea chance, and Liverpool have had several.
They've been slapping you about your own hands. They've been using your own hands to slap you about. All you've been doing is passing them to in dangerous positions.
Last 10 minutes, you've realised how this game was going and you've sat a lot deeper. You were playing so high before and getting caught out in the break, but you've relaxed a bit. Right. Pablo Jeremiah,
Go on.
Zach, he says, can Chelsea win the Europa League?
Depends who get knocked out of the Champions League. But currently, I'd like to think so. I feel we currently at this point stage in the group stage, we can play a bit of a weaker side. We can play a bit of a rested side with some youth. I say we can,
your group's
but
terrible.
we don't.
Your group's terrible.
Yeah, I see why not. I think especially if
You're not going to win the Europa.
if our biggest aim this year is to get back in Champions League football.
There's a couple of
And we
Champions League groups where, like, if a Valencia drop out from Man United's group, if a Napoli drop out,
Or if
from
a Man
PSG
United drop out.
PSG's
Yeah.
group.
The way it's
I
going
don't
at the
know.
moment, I wouldn't put it past Man United to get beaten by
We
Valencia
need-
and Juventus.
We need to remember, because it's only been 3 months, barely that, since Sarri took over. And we've already, amazingly been able to play this kind of football. So, I think people kind of jump the gun a little bit too much with Chelsea and sort of been like, oh my God, look at them. Maybe they're going to challenge for the title this year and they're going to be going back to the Champions
agree.
League. I think everyone needs to calm down. Sarri's barely been there.
I agree. I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. The same's happened with
Go on.
the same. Not as with Tottenham. Tottenham have had such a bad start to the season. Tottenham have been
But
dreadful.
this rise has coincided with Tottenham's poor
Demise.
start.
Tottenham are losing
That's
now.
why
to
I think people
Tottenham are
like-
losing at the moment to Watford.
Yeah, I can see it.
Are they?
Yeah, so they're heading out. This will be their 4th loss on the bounce, will it?
No, because they beat Brighton.
Oh, beat Brighton. So
Two and
one,
fifth.
yeah.
four losses in 5 games, which is not particularly
pretty
special
at all.
under Poch. They're playing, of course, at Milton Keynes tonight. They're losing 1-0. Isaac Success has scored. Excuse me, the coke's going straight to my lungs. But yeah, 1-0 Tottenham. Arsenal are winning 2-1 at home to Brentford, so scraping a result there.
Has Ollie Watkins scored a banger?
Let me find out who scored in the Brentford game.
Right, while you do that, I've got a game-specific question from Prince, and I'm going to put this to Chris. He says, what do Chelsea need to do to get back into this game?
I was listening to a bit of Prince last night, actually.
As a man that, I mean, Paul Chris has missed the last 10 minutes, but, you know, if you were Sarri, what would you be telling your players right now?
Well, I mean, he's put his match winner on, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. And what's the midfield now? Barkley.
Barkley, Kanté.
Barkley, I mean, Kanté still looks quite advanced 2 or 3 minutes after coming on. Has he got midfield 4?
No.
Oh, okay. It's Fabregas, Barkley. Right, okay.
Fabregas, Barkley, Kanté.
Right, okay, cool. I mean, he's played his ace card, hasn't he? I don't really like.
What more can he do?
Like you said, and he's tried to bring a bit of balance, bringing Hazard on by bringing Kanté on as well. So, yeah, let's see. But at the moment, Liverpool are playing it freely across sort of in Chelsea's final third, and Chelsea have kind of set up in a bit of a deep block, which we've not seen under Sarri as of yet. Is this the first time this season, barring what Arsenal at? Was it at the Emirates or was it at Stamford Bridge?
At Stamford Bridge.
Where they've been really tested by a top side. They've definitely not had it their own way this match, have they?
Well,
100%.
Arsenal battered them at your place, didn't they?
For that 20-minute period.
They should, for the first half. Sorry, not for the whole game, but for the first half, they should have had 4. They should have had 4 or 5.
There were issues
Kieran
down.
trying to shut the door quietly. To shut it 4 times.
There were issues down. Christian's now come off for David Luiz, so that means we're going to win now 3-1, isn't it? I've just got annoyed. Anyway, sorry, no. The left flank. Oh, Christian's has gone straight down to the injury room.
Oh.
That is worrying.
Who cares?
Anyway, the left flank against Arsenal, but there was a 20-minute period where Arsenal could have easily scored 3 goals, and it was the same thing each time. Run down the right wing,
that missed a bad one as well.
put it into the box on the floor, and Aubameyang hit it straight over. Lacazette hit it straight over. But yeah, apart from this, we've not really been tested this season. We played Man City in the Community Shield, lost there.
Yeah, I feel like your Chelsea's left back situation is something of a concern for Maurizio Sarri. As good
It's a blessing
as
and a disguise.
Marcos Alonso is fantastic going forward. Probably one of the best left backs in world football going forward for me. But I think defensively, not the best in a back 4. Works in a back 5, but in a back 4 struggles.
Marcos Alonso at the minute.
And he's just not quick enough to, if he's caught out.
He's averaging more shots per game than Giroud and Morata, which is pretty damning for both of them and highlights the point you're saying. But I agree. His pace doesn't make up for his kind of attacking prowess, much like Kyle Walker's does.
Hazard, stop it.
But
This actually could be a blessing in disguise, I think, getting Christensen off if he was injured or not. Bringing David Luiz on, because he is really good at bringing out the ball, playing the ball forward. Because Chelsea have really struggled to get Morata into the game in this second half. Morata looks so isolated, and he's actually not having a poor game. He's just been given no service because Liverpool have actually really stepped up. They've moved 10 yards up the pitch.
Firmino on now.
So who did he come on for? Was I out getting pizza?
Firmino must have come on for
Mane.
Yeah. Right, Benny asks, who is the best player this match? I don't think there's been really any outstanding candidates, Benny. I think Lovren and Matip have done a pretty good job on Morata, but then, as I just said, I think he's been quite isolated. Has anyone seen anyone really take...
I think Sadio Mane's played quite well.
I was going to say, in between
Sadio
talking,
Mane's played quite well.
Keita and Mane seem to have stitched together 2 or 3 really good moves down the left-hand
I
side.
think Shaqiri's had quite a bright game as well.
Barkley's been pretty poor in midfield, giving the ball away a lot.
Non-existent this second half.
And he's set up 2 chances for Liverpool in the second half just by poor, sloppy pieces of play. So I think Barkley's been the worst, and I'll go Sadio Mane as the best. Also, West Ham, by the way, are 7-0 up. So we've been battering them, really.
I guess so.
7-0 up.
Macclesfield.
Mansfield.
Oh
nuts.
my.
Thinking of batterings, although I know Oxford United are in League One, but did you guys catch the highlights of Man City last night?
No, I didn't. But I saw Phil Foden's goal.
So impressive how it was pretty much a second string, except for Sterling. I think David Silva started. But I just find it so impressive how an entirely new 11,
the consistency.
Yeah, how they just slot into this exactly the same style of play. And we've seen tonight with Chelsea, it's not quite worked in the same way. I know Sarri's had a lot less time to work with his players, so obviously the second 11 aren't going to be quite so welded to his philosophy. But I just thought it was really impressive. And Phil Foden looked unbelievably good.
Kieran was in the next room to me. I was in the living room, he was in his bedroom watching Man City. And Phil Foden got the goal. And I've never, like, you know when England got to the semis, it was like that.
Really?
It was a celebration like that.
What-
I thought he was getting attacked.
Rightly so. What a goal it was. That was his first goal for City in a competitive game as well, wasn't it? For that first time, it was such a lovely drilled finish. You just look at him and you're like, oh, he's just done that, and he's English and he's a midfielder. This bodes extremely well because we are lacking goal-scoring central midfield.
Let's give him time. Like, I think the good thing with him being at City is George Wright actually mentioned this earlier in the office, is that he doesn't have to be rushed.
He's in. Chance.
Shaqiri's
Shaqiri's in
boys.
one-on-one.
That's a lovely
Penalty.
You
Is that another Liverpool dive?
He's tried to dive, cut it back, dived. Definitely not a penalty.
David
Gets
Luiz,
up
keep
Shaqiri.
charging. Tell him, David Luiz. Tell him, David.
I mean, but Foden, it's going to be difficult to manage. It's not going to be, he can have, they can afford to kind of bed him in. They have to throw him in at the deep end, so to speak, at City. But he's of a level where he want minutes. And we've seen Jadon Sancho walk out. So City kind of tread a fine line, really, don't they, when it comes to...
Such a bad dive.
Because they've got another player in
Diaz.
in Brahim Diaz, who wants to leave. He's only got a year left on his contract. He wanted to go on loan to Girona, and they wouldn't let him. And he was quite upset about that.
Really? Even though it was a loan deal, I'm quite surprised they didn't let him go. Right. Ardi Kapuska, we've seen him coming on the last 15 minutes, and he says, do you think this will be Firmino's best season? Joe?
Hard to top last year.
He had an amazing season last year, you're right. But equally, he's never scored 20 goals in a league season. So I would like to see the year Firmino... Oh, it's not a pretty tackle by Naby Keita, that, by the way. But I think he'll get close to 20 this season. I think the fact that Salah's not going to score 40 is going to help him. I think he would have probably got closer if Salah hadn't scored 40 last season and shared it around a little bit more. So I think that will probably happen this season. He'll probably get... I reckon he'll go about 18 this season.
But he's almost...
He doesn't care about the 20 though. That's the thing about Firmino. He's more
So
about
selfless, isn't
thinking
he?
and making other players better.
What does success look like for Firmino? Is it just goals? Less so than any other striker. Like Sadio Mane.
Yeah, definitely.
We kind of don't beat Sadio Mane with his stick, do we? When it comes to 20 goals, and I think his best total was last campaign, and that was 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's maybe because Firmino's a number 9, but he's kind of an attacking midfielder.
Firmino makes that attack work. I think if you...
Emerson!
Who's that?
It's a fan,
There's a fan on the pitch.
Some
It's
absolute...
Zach's cousin.
Yes, big up, Andrew.
It's 1-0, Emerson Palmieri. The ball's crossed in from a Naby Keita
Who
foul
wins
wide.
it?
Ross Barkley wins the header at the front post, hits the post, rebounds. Emerson taps in from a yard. Happy
I told
boy.
you. I said it's going penalties,
You
didn't
were
I?
paying attention, Joe.
Went full Smith.
Oh,
That's really good.
It's a good
That's
save
that.
from Mignolet as well.
Ross Barkley for all his...
Oh, that is unfortunate for Mignolet. That is a good save.
That's a
Great
great save. That's one of the ones like kind of
For all his
he
misdemeanors
does-
in that game, that was a very decent header.
You
Got in
can't-
front of his
yeah.
man. Who was it? Fabinho?
Centre back.
Hey,
Joel,
Mauricio Sarri's well happy
You
with
can't
that.
criticise Mignolet there. He does push it back into the wrong area, but it's such a reflex save.
if you're going in or he's onside.
a near post
VAR.
Undeserved for Chelsea, that equaliser. They've been absolutely battered this
Goal.
second half. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, but he's checking.
Oh,
he's
here we
checking
go, VAR.
No, please.
Ross Barkley.
No.
Looks very close to being offside.
Barkley's off.
I think he's off.
I actually think
Barkley's off.
He's off.
Get the wiggly lines out, lads.
No, Barkley's off.
Good. We don't want extra time.
No,
wanna
please,
go home.
there's no extra time. There's no extra time.
I think he's off, and our stream has frozen. So let's go to Twitter to find out whether or not it was in fact a goal.
No.
Wait, it's back.
He's
We're
on.
back.
He's on. He's on. He's on.
He
is.
Wait.
Yeah, no, look
but
at the arm.
look at
the arm of
Firmino's arm. I think he's on.
He's on.
The arm is not a thing for offside. It can only be a playable part of the body with a football. So the arm does not count as an offside.
Referee Tomlinson,
part
good
of
to
the
have you
offside.
here.
No worries.
But he is.
Has got his UEFA licence.
He's offside. He's
His
offside.
bum is off.
He's offside.
His bum's off. His bum's offside.
I'm glad they straightened up the lines for this year.
Barkley
as well.
paying the price of being thick.
He's offside. But
I'd pay the price
whose
for this.
back foot is that blue line currently on? Because I can't. I want to see the front man's back foot.
Sturridge's.
Yeah.
Sturridge's.
Is it on Sturridge's that?
Oh.
He's give it. Can't believe it. That is-
Yes! Get in
They
there,
did say
Yates!
it's controversial.
Yates!
At the World Cup, they did have VAR down as if it is a marginal decision, it
favour the
favours the
strikers,
attacker. So obviously they're probably adopting
I think
the
that,
same
yeah,
reason.
I think Joe's point about Sturridge's foot is quite important there because what you couldn't see because it was
see.
blocked.
Yeah.
But if they'd shown it from the other angle, it would have been,
1-0,
ifs and
game
buts.
on.
1-0.
Bring it on,
10
you
minutes
big.
left here.
10 minutes left and then it's penalty.
Yes, Jimbo. Love that. Needs some more moisture.
Right, George
Thank you.
7 asks, who has the best defence in the Premier League?
Not Chelsea.
We're going for fully strength sides, so not on this.
Fully strength side, City.
Still not Chelsea.
Not even close.
Yeah, I mean you can't really argue with that.
How does Laporte?
Okay, who's the closest?
Liverpool.
Okay, again,
Liverpool
quite
have improved
predictable.
very
Anyone got
buying
anything-
Alisson is basically.
Although
making
there
the
is
second
there
best.
is a very good shout for Tottenham Hotspur on their day. Tottenham Hotspur with Toby Alderweireld.
Oh,
now
this,
it
this,
is there.
if that went in, this was going everywhere.
Toby Alderweireld.
Whip ball down the right side into
Vertonghen.
Firmino.
Oh, well played, Kante. Toby Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Ben Davies / Danny Rose, Kieran Trippier / Aurier with Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah,
at the backup. It's lovely.
personnel wise, but I think as a whole system, yeah.
Yeah, definitely City though.
City then Liverpool. I think you're right.
Hasn't Laporte just taken his game to just new levels this year?
The point I was about to make a minute ago is that how does Laporte look so
please,
assured in
please.
like 8 months
Please don't
in
concede.
comparison to someone like Bailly who's been there for 2 years? Obviously,
Because he's playing under Pep Guardiola.
that is a simple answer, but
We don't do simple here, FD.
They do control the ball a lot more.
Oh! Emerson at the other end, making a great header. Oh, this is not
very tense now.
I'm
Last
so
10
scared.
minutes.
Penalties I'm not going to be able to watch.
Right, this is a slight tactics question, and it's coming from me, Doogie. And
Really?
I ask,
Me,
do you think the
Doogie.
reason that Man United face so many shots, I know their defence gets a hard time, but don't you think they should be offered more protection from their midfield and forwards? It can't just be the fact that their defenders aren't closing them down well enough.
It absolutely can.
Okay, as the regular
They're
viewer,
a
Joe,
shambolic mess. We played 2 defensive midfielders at home against Derby County yesterday, and the defence was still all over the place. They
So
make
what is
their own problems. It's like watching Chelsea for that 15-minute period
they're just
for a
making
whole 90
constant
minutes.
errors.
They're making constant errors. The positional sense is all over the place. They're rushing out of the back line. The fullbacks provide no cover and support. Balls into the box are a constant problem because the fullbacks aren't tight enough.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
so many issues.
The last
at
time I
back.
took a proper close look
Look
at
how
your defence
deep
was the
Hazard's
Tottenham
come
game,
from.
and the line was an absolute disgrace.
It's constantly all over the place because the reason it's all over the place is because it's never the
Danny?
same. It's
Look where Hazard
Oh, off the beans on toast.
what a strike!
Stop it, Daniel!
Gets out from his feet. Looks
He
like a
nearly got
curling
his
effort,
4th
hits
out of
it.
8 there. Nearly his
how
4th of 8.
Look how far Hazard's coming back. That's him making
Shaqiri
that block.
again. Great touch from Firmino. Lays it off. Curler.
Beautiful effort by
Why
Sturridge.
did
Inches
that
away.
nestled in the postage
He's
stamp?
recovered really well from his Torres error earlier. That made no sense.
Oh.
Torres error.
Oh
earlier.
yeah, I completely forgot about the Torres game.
Yeah. He had an absolute gaff. Right.
This game has gone.
It's really livened up
Mental.
last 10. There was a little lull where Liverpool were in control for the sort of
still
20
are, to be
minutes
honest.
from 55 to 75, and the last 8 minutes.
Look
has
at
been
Hazard! Put it under his legs.
Who was that? Firmino. Close him. Right. Next
it.
question.
Stop it!
It starts with a nutmeg and Firmino 40 yards out.
This is on every YouTube compilation for the rest of our lifetime.
Oh, with some deep house.
If it wasn't for the tablet, I would have just.
What is that, Eden Hazard?
Nuts for me.
That is
mate.
so
He's
wrong.
like
Look at
7
this. It
players.
starts with
Get him to a
nutmeg.
doctor.
Starts with a See ya. Who's this?
Watch this
Lays it off. It
again.
doesn't even matter. Back 30 yards out.
See you later.
Oi,
Oh
see
my
ya.
god.
Who's that? Alberto Moreno.
Oh,
gets
he's turned
turned.
Moreno into a terracotta
Warrior.
warrior.
1, 2, 3. He's beat
Beats
4
players.
players.
Is that panting like a dog?
I'm sorry, but Naby Keita, you've got to be doing better there. Watch this from Naby Keita. I don't think this is.
Yeah,
it's not good.
Watch
enough.
his nut-
And watch this from Moreno.
Oh my
You
god.
can't be falling for that Alberto like that.
Best player
Joe's
in the-
best mate. Let
in
him
the
know.
Premier League.
What about that
Nobody
finish,
strikes a ball cleaner than Eden
Yeah,
Hazard
credit to the attacker. That was
this
class.
season. That is
Oh my
outrageous.
good
That was such a
lordy
good goal.
lordy. I've got a semi on.
death, big man.
Oh my gosh.
I can't.
Wow.
He nutted Firmino, and I was like, nah, this isn't going to happen.
That
And
is
he beat another
outrageous.
player.
Eden
He beat
Hazard.
another
About
player.
10 seconds before that went in, Kieran said, "Get ready," and I thought, "Oh, this is going down."
Has anyone seen my half slice of pizza? I think I got lost in the goal.
Mate, I started lassoing.
No,
my-
boys, wait,
with
it's
my
not over,
mic.
it's not over, it's not over.
We'll find it in winners and losers next week.
Everyone get back. Hazard.
Oh, what a
Best
goal!
player.
Chelsea were down
Best
and out
player
at
in the
65.
Premier
What a
League.
comeback.
In terms of like, this will have a great effect on their mentality. They've gone to a big side. They've kind of put pay to what I said earlier. Have they really been challenged? Liverpool away. There's not going to be many more difficult fixtures than that this season, admittedly against kind of a second string, but.
By the way, can I just say,
If you can go far in the league, if you can win the League
Fair
Cup.
play to
We
Sarri
are-
as well.
The
Scoring
League Cup's
on
been a
Hazard and
great
Kante.
platform
We're
for people
20
like
minutes.
Pellegrini, for Pep.
We're
Go on.
20 minutes away from having Liverpool, Spurs, and United all out at the first round of the Carling Cup.
That's
Yes!
what it is. Well done, Watford.
Chelsea potentially getting Derby, West Ham,
the big
Watford.
gun.
This better not be a Man City procession.
I mean, the
He
chairs
keeps
all over
moving
the
the ball
place.
back.
When that goal
I'm
went in.
so happy, mate. Salah has just come on, by the way, for Fabinho.
What?
They're going for it, Liverpool now.
We said at 65, Chelsea were pretty much down and out, but they've come back to it so well. I think Sarri bringing on Hazard, bringing on Kante really early, let them settle into that normal, or their key players getting them on at crucial times. Chelsea have come storming back into
Oh,
this.
lovely.
Oh, make that ball.
And now
Make
they
that
look quite
ball.
free-flowing.
I've got to say
Morata.
though, since David Luiz has come on as well, they have looked more stable
so
at
do
the
I.
back for sure.
I will eat my words.
Poor Christensen, it's not been a good night for
Eden
him.
Hazard, though, you said, didn't you? Oh, that's lovely, Eden.
People are just afraid to do like.
That's a free kick. Here we
Hazard's
go.
having a world.
Oh, here we go.
He just,
Oh,
do you see
Jordan.
what Henderson said?
Right in the
Choice words.
bloody onion bag, this one, mate.
Don't need
Mate,
to be a lip reader for
Hazard-
that one.
Like he's
What did he call him, a
creating
shirt
a
front?
he's creating a status now right now in the Premier
Right,
League
guys,
this
keep the
season.
questions coming in. Keep them
Keep,
coming.
yeah, keep them flowing. Hit the like button as well.
And subscribe
Guys,
if you're
it's all
new.
going mad in here. It's all gone mad.
Want to hit us up on Twitter?
Jordan
as
Henderson
well.
has lost it.
sweaty. I'm a bit
You're a bit sweaty. I'm wearing a hoodie and I'm panting still.
And you are like a Yeti.
This is such good build-up. for the
David
game on
Luiz,
Sunday.
David-
Is your game against them on Sunday?
One of them Saturday.
Bad
them
blood
we
for,
play them
for the weekend.
We play them for this weekend at Stamford Bridge.
Have you seen
With the big boys all out from the off
Yeah.
as well.
Have you seen the 6 fixtures that Liverpool have got?
Mental.
It's ridiculous.
So, Chelsea twice.
Wait, let's all watch this free kick before.
Napoli.
Here we
had
go. This
PSG.
should be an absolute raise the roof moment if Eden Hazard puts this in.
No, he doesn't. This is.
Eden Hazard.
But look at him.
He's
He's
got a
got
free
that
kick.
confidence now. Where in his head he's going, I'm putting this in.
Eden Hazard's got a free kick centre of the goal, about 5 yards outside the D. This is the perfect
You've got to
location.
DDT Joe through that table. if this goes.
Please don't.
No,
'cause we
this
paid
is
a lot
also
for that
it's
table.
really expensive.
This is the perfect location for a free kick. If you're going to set it out for Eden Hazard, you put it here.
Go on, Eden. Show them why you should be Ballon d'Or winner. Oh.
Nah.
Gary Cahill got in the way of it. Gary Cahill.
It was an awful
Hit
free
Naby
kick.
Keita, hit
That
Naby
was
Keita.
terrible.
Hit
That
Naby
was
Keita.
bouncing
Moses,
before
don't do
it
something
went
silly here,
Right,
Moses.
hold on to it, Moses. Wait, why do I want Chelsea?
Why are you
I looked at his face and like the realisation, just like,
in. Game management.
I've never wanted Chelsea
what's
to win.
happened to me?
Game management now, Chelsea.
It's been a little bit.
Yes,
It's been a lot
Morata.
better last 5 or 10. Even Morata's getting a cheer now from Zach. He wants.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so
Have you
silent
guys
second half.
noticed, because he needed a big game today, have you guys noticed anything about Nathaniel Klein? I think it's been quite quiet, to be honest.
Well, the trouble is, he's got the best young right back in the world.
Trent
behind him.
Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, Andy's. Who's he got down the left to contend with? I mean,
Who's playing
It
left?
was
Hazard.
Williams to start
It was
with.
Williams to start with, it's been Hazard.
Willian has actually been one of Chelsea's better players at the start of this season.
Yes.
Oh, well played.
Although that miss against West Ham was
Look
awful.
at Hazard just
With the
battling
drop.
Jordan
Look at
Henderson off
him.
the pitch.
Oh,
my
referee.
gosh.
He is so at it
That's
this year,
Jordan, that's
Hazard.
his second ref.
Jordan's not enjoying
He's
it.
embarrassing.
All
Henderson
right,
there.
guys, we've got a question coming in.
Go on.
Capachel Skulls.
Hello, Chelsea.
They ask, what's the best European club for Chucky Lozano and why?
Oh.
Christopher?
Yeah, I think you can take this one.
Thanks, mate. Lozano. So he had a great season last year in the Eredivisie. I think. I mean, he slowed down towards the end, but then he picked his form right back up with the World Cup. Then at least for the first 2 games, I think he needs another prolific season. A lot of top clubs are quite wary now of the Eredivisie, aren't they?
David the
But anyone that needs an inside forward, really, who his numbers were pretty unrivaled. I think I think the only player I can think of who was more productive in the Eredivisie was Jahan Bash, who signed for Brighton. We're yet to see the best of him, and he was sort of producing 3 key passes, beating his man 3 or 4 times a game. So if he can do it for another year, I think maybe sort of a club in between that elite level and the sort of tier he's at now.
He's got a great platform with the Champions League now, but they've got a really tough group. It's the Barcelona, Spurs,
Inter
group.
and they're absolutely humped by Barcelona.
Yeah, and he didn't really get a kick. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Maybe maybe I agree with Chris. Not quite a top 6 Premier League club, but a club just outside that bracket.
Yeah.
I think Leicester could use a wide man since Mahrez is gone. I'm still not totally convinced by Damari Gray.
I mean, they've signed Gazal, haven't they? From Monaco. I can see him at, sort of maybe a Fiorentina. I'm not sure if Monaco would pay for him.
I don't reckon he would cost that much. They never do.
Pay for him after signing Golovin, but.
Quick update for you guys. It's the 91st minute. There was 5 minutes added on. Kante just put a stupid ball through to Hazard. Just time waste it. Time waste it. Or take the Mickey. Take the Mickey. That's it.
You relieved a bit. By bringing Kante on, you've actually been winning the ball back much further up the pitch, and you've actually relieved a bit of pressure. Or maybe that's why David Luiz is fared a bit better this second half, because he has a Kante in front of him.
Right. So there's 3 minutes and 20 seconds left of this game. Chelsea going through. They've got a great record in the the third round of the Carling Cup. They haven't been beaten in about 10 years, I believe.
The Carabao Cup.
The Carabao Cup. Sorry, get your sponsorship right. And Liverpool actually have a really poor record against Chelsea. I'm doing my research earlier. They've only won 2 of their last 15 games, and both of them came at Stamford Bridge.
Yes, one of them was that Jordan Henderson goal.
Oh, the worldie.
The worldie. I remember driving home from work.
But yeah, what have you made of the display? Zach, has this given you a bit of encouragement about your second string?
Well, the reason we're winning is Eden Hazard. I'll be honest. Our subs who were in our first team have come on and absolutely destroyed it. Look, I am happy. This was a very good Liverpool side as well. Let's not take it away from them. They've battled well, and it's been a very good game. It's been exciting, especially even though it has been second string players. Hazard, it's just
Hazard's
taking
everywhere.
the biscuit right now.
He's up for it, isn't it? He's
unbelievable. He must be enjoying. I don't think he's enjoyed his football this much ever. Since being at Chelsea.
Good.
Well, he's got a manager that's simpatico with the way he wants to play. Like he's got to. You can't moan about Conte. You can't moan about Mourinho.
No, not at all.
And being. David! It's all a bit ragged up until David Luiz got his foot in there.
David Luiz,
Salah.
2 minutes left, people.
Still showing Chelsea they've got to be on their toes. But yeah, to go back to your question, like Hazard has to deliver now. He's got a manager.
He does.
He's got to show kind of maybe a bit. I don't know.
David Luiz, good clearance again.
More commitments.
What I've always found Hazard's biggest problem is his kind of decision making in front of goal. I don't know if you did watch the West Ham game, but it best showed when he got put through. Yeah, all he has to do is dink the keeper or shoot the keeper. And what he decides to do instead is do a little back heel for Morata, and then Morata, unsurprisingly, screws it up. So I think that's something that Hazard maybe has to improve on, is his decision making in front of goal, and maybe being a bit more selfish is what he needs to do, like he was for that goal there, where he decides to take on about 7 players, have a shot, and it go in. I think this is going to be Hazard's best player this season.
Lekai Oscar says, how is Hazard the best player in the Premier League when he's so inconsistent? I think that's what these guys are saying, Lekai. I think they're saying this year, if he shows that consistency, he can be in that top bracket. I don't think he's ever scored over 16, or he's done it only once, 16 Premier League goals.
That was his best season, yeah.
But he was unplayable that season. And he's started this season outstandingly well.
He's contributed to over 20 goals on multiple occasions. Yeah. So it depends. Like he's been consistent, but whether he can join that top bracket of players, he is a top player, of course, but whether his output can resemble anything like Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi's will sort of amount to him how many chances he can take, like how often he plays in the final third now. I think Sarri's going to make life simple for him. He wants to see him further up the pitch, and he wants him to get as many chances as someone like Lorenzo Insigne had for Napoli last campaign. I think we were talking about winners and losers, weren't we?
177 shots.
Insigne had 100 more shots than Hazard in Hazard's average season in the Premier League. Like, if he can, maybe potentially
give it Barkley.
Hold on to the ball.
Oh my lord, that's the worst.
And that might be why players like Giroud are going to help that along the line.
Yeah. Well, it's nearly the end of the game. We're just waiting for the referee's final whistle. Chelsea are just punting it upfield. I'm ecstatic.
Ecstatic?
I'm planning to get up at 5:30 tomorrow. I don't think I can.
No, it's a good win.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So 1-0
the dying
we
minutes.
need to go gym after that pizza, mate.
95th minute. There was 5 minutes added on. Liverpool have a free kick in Chelsea's half. This will probably be the last kick of the game. Imagine if they no, they won't.
We've had a question just in from Alan Severin.
And we've also had
Mignolet is coming up.
we've also had a full-time West Ham won 8-0.
Fair play.
West Ham for the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Bring it home.
Mikey
Scenes.
Atkins buzzing.
He went to that game.
Tonight?
Yeah, tenner.
Fair.
Not bad. His first game.
So it should be.
Right, this is final chance saloon, lads. Who are
Mignolet's
we
up.
picking to
David
blend us in? I
Luiz
think Shaqiri left foot curl it in.
Yol Matip back heel.
Oh, that's
That is
pathetic.
disappointing.
Oh,
Matip.
is he kept it in?
No, he
Mignolet.
hasn't.
That's
Right,
it.
that's full
done.
time, but
Pitching wedge
let's
shot.
do another 10 minutes on the stream, just
100%.
answering a couple more
100%.
questions. I think
Yeah.
we're hammering the concurrence at the moment. We've got about 3,000 of you in the
Hello.
stream, so let's get a few more questions
Harry's got a
from
cigarette in his
you
mouth.
at home right now. Send them in. Doogie's going to ask them to us. We'll answer them. Make sure you hit subscribe as well if you're a new follower of Football Daily. Hit the like button too. 10 minutes of quick fire questions as the game finishes 2-1 to Chelsea.
Perfect.
What a
And we're
game.
kicking it off with Alan Severin's question. And he says, can Jurgen replicate Ferguson at Liverpool? It has the atmosphere, according to Alan.
Can who represent who?
Jurgen replicate Ferguson at Liverpool. So I assume what he's saying here is, can he build a dynasty
Don't mention
of 26 years?
Jurgen Klopp's name in the same sentence as Dynasty and Sir Alex Ferguson.
Triggered.
Don't mention it.
He's not happy with Shaqiri.
He's not.
Whoa.
They're going
Hold on.
at
Just,
it
let's just taking a pause while Jurgen dresses down Xherdan Shaqiri on the pitch.
That was
I
interesting.
think
Yeah,
he's probably
let's move
sound
off
for
that
Liverpool.
question because it's such nonsense. I won't even have it banded around this office willy-nilly.
Yeah, that's poor.
Yeah, next one, please, Doogie.
Klopp should just concentrate on winning one final.
Yeah,
first.
let's concentrate on winning a trophy first, Jurgen.
Okay, Nuclear Explosion asks, it's a bit off the topics of the Carabao Cup, but he says, who will get promoted to the Premier League?
Leeds United
Oh,
look
and they will be-
fantastic under
I love
Marcelo
it.
Bielsa.
I love it how Leeds and Middlesbrough are both the favourites. Two
Two
the
polars.
completely different styles. I think them two are running away with it at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah,
Well.
Leeds look great. It's just how long it takes before the inevitable Marcelo Bielsa implosion happens,
think-
which happens everywhere.
I think Forest might be in for a shout. I actually watched two of their games so far this season. They've got a bunch of Algerians playing for them. A guy called Sadani up front, and
Love this
the one that used to play for Crystal Palace, centre midfielder. Can't think of his name.
Good and doozy. Get good. Guardiola.
Guediora.
Oh,
That's it,
Guediora.
yeah, so I've been watching the fellow Algerians. Guediora
Gendouzi,
nearly scored an absolute
Guediora.
unbelievable goal from the halfway line. But yeah, I think Nottingham Forest might
Well,
be in for a
there's
shout.
our championship tips. Moving on, Swagato Saka.
Oh,
He's back!
He's back.
His shirt is coming.
Yeah,
Relax,
we're so
Swagato.
We found it lying about the office. One of the commercial team didn't send it. It wasn't us. Please don't take it personally.
He's asked a good question as well. He says, who do you think will win the Premier League Golden Glove this year? So the most clean sheets.
Honestly.
Mostly.
Because Manchester City are
it'll be
conceding
Edison.
about 6 shots a game at the moment, 2 of them on target.
Edison.
So I think, what was it, Edison could have conceded every shot on target at home last season and Man City would have still won the championship.
Yeah.
That was, I do remember hearing
Yeah, it's
that.
going to be
That
Edison.
was mental.
It'll be Edison. I think
Right.
Kepa could.
No, I
could
think
put it together a
Allison.
little
I was
bit.
thinking Allison maybe.
Yeah, I think it'll be between those
I
three.
think Chelsea conceded too
It's
many
always
sloppy
gonna be the
goals
team that
for him to do that.
Pretty much wins the title. Dan the Man says, if Liverpool go this season without any trophies, could it still be a successful season? Now this, I think, is really interesting. Chris, what's your take on this?
It depends how much they narrow the gap between them and City. If they take City all the way, I think, what did City win it by last season?
19 points.
19 points.
Was it
yeah.
19 or 6? Yeah, 16. One of them.
A lot.
A lot is the answer. Yeah, then no. But if they narrow the gap and if they don't, winning a meaningless bit harsh.
How did Hazard
Winning-
take man
winning
of the
a
match?
lesser
He's on for-
trophy
he's on for half an
like-
hour.
Like the Carabao Cup isn't gonna kind of rescue a mediocre season, is it? So I'd take pushing City all the way. I don't know what you boys think.
I think they do need to. Yeah, I think they need to close the gap and.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Hazard won man of the match on for 20
25
minutes.
Look at Eddie's going over to the fans. Legend. No, but back to the question. I do think they do need a trophy. I think, yes, closing the gap is important and it will help. But a trophy after spending a lot of money on a goalkeeper, on Fabinho, on Van Dijk
January,
yeah, and the Naby Keita. Like, there's got to get to a point where Liverpool spent all this money on their squad. When they're going to start seeing the benefits from it, apart from
And it's
finishing
almost
second
just,
place, getting
it's
to a final
almost
and
just
losing.
to shut up the narrative around it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, people will carry on talking about Pochettino and Klopp not winning a trophy until they do. So to pick up an FA Cup, I know obviously they can't win the League Cup now, And I think this is actually a really bad result for Liverpool because it's an easy way of just getting the people off their back. And it's going to be really difficult to win the Champions League. It's going to be really difficult to win the Premier League. These cups are where they could easily do it.
Well, this loss today, and then say they do lose on the weekend to Chelsea, then we go above them in the league, then they start dropping points, then they are 3 points
Yeah, I
away,
mean, there's a long
6
way to go in
points.
the Premier League.
Yeah,
Let's
100%.
relax.
But
They've started
no.
amazingly. 5 wins or 6
Yeah,
wins
true.
from
A lot of
6.
ifs there as well, and like you said, a lot of new players and Liverpool fans that aren't stupid. Contrary to some opinions around the office, they'll know that it's going to take a little bit of time to bed these newer players in, and they only just qualified for Champions League football on the last day of last season. So I do think taking City all the way is the primary target, and if that. I don't know if the powers that be at Liverpool are going to be too devastated with this. I appreciate what you're saying, and what I said earlier, I still stand by. Pellegrini won the League Cup. Pep won the League Cup. You know, it's the first in his double
First trophy that Josie
last
won in
season,
England
and
as
that
well.
does help propel you forward as a club. It's bad, but it's not
Not the end of the world.
disastrous,
I just think it would get people off their back.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Hashtag Westy16. Ask this to Joe specifically. He must know he's got a thing for West Ham. He says, Joe, what do you think about West Ham winning 8-0 with attacking football? He must be thinking
Well done. You
Westy
have
is,
crunched Macclesfield into non-existence. Fantastic stuff, isn't it? Yeah, well done. I mean, what more can I say about that? Didn't watch the game. Obviously, we were watching Chelsea-Liverpool, so can't really
Obviously
comment on the
been watching
performance.
West Ham.
Don't know who started. I actually did see that Snodgrass got, I think, 4 assists and a goal, so that pretty much sums it up.
We're actually going to play Macclesfield, FDFC. Go over to FDFC's YouTube channel and subscribe now. That is going to, come.
And we'll see if we can put 7 past them.
Yeah, I reckon I'll be
At least
second.
6.
It's a little known fact that Joe
Grab one.
Tomlinson has West Ham bed sheets, but we'll move on.
I've seen 'em.
COYS, which I assume has come on you Spurs, asked, do Real Madrid have a chance of winning the Champions League without Ronaldo? Hamill,
Yeah,
what do you think?
What was that? Sorry.
Real
Do
Madrid.
Real Madrid, could they win the Champions League without Ronaldo?
I mean, they've started well, haven't they, with a convincing win over 3-0 over Roma at home. I mean, this is a Roma side that have started the season terribly. I think they're conceding the 3rd most shots in Serie A at the moment, which is ridiculous after like Frosinone, who sound like a dessert, and someone else.
Sound like quite a tasty dessert as well.
Yeah, but so that maybe is going to be a little bit misleading. But I think the positive thing for them is Gareth Bale took around 6-7 shots in that game, which is the sort of output we expect from Cristiano Ronaldo in the Champions League.
One point I will make, just quickly while we're on this topic. Obviously, La Liga tonight, playing.
Oh God,
Real-
what's happened to Real?
Real 3-0 down at half-time, Sevilla.
Oh, snap!
Andre
Bam.
Silva's got a double and Wassim Ben.
Whammy!
That means Sevilla have scored 9 goals in their last 120 minutes of football. They are on fire.
unbelievable.
They've battered Levante.
have
the
just
It's a
weekend.
full. It's pretty much a
Supernova,
full.
haven't they?
It's
Yeah.
pretty much a full fixture list today. We've got Bundesliga's happening as well. Dortmund won 7-0 tonight against Nuremberg.
How
that
many
was
Pulisic?
another big score. Pulisic didn't get on the score sheet, but Jadon Sancho did.
Oh, yes.
Yes,
So that's
Jadon.
nice to see. Villarreal are 3-0 up away from home.
behind the scenes.
And also, Roma, you mentioned Frosinone as well there, are 4-0 up there. So there's goals pretty much everywhere. Juventus 2-0 up, no Cristiano Ronaldo goal.
So that's an awful result for Real Madrid. Real Madrid have looked very solid in the league so far, barring a couple of hairy moments against Girona. I'll get my words out eventually, but I don't really know what to say to that. 3-0 at half time.
Well, it's not just that. Barcelona have lost 2-1 to Leganes away from home. So
what's a feast of
shit's
football
hit the
it's been?
fan in Spain.
Atletico Madrid are winning the league.
Shit has hit the
Oh,
fan
what,
in
Atletico
Spain.
Madrid? Atletico
Okay,
player.
and Atletico started the season fairly poorly as well, but have they won tonight?
No.
They
Just
haven't played tonight.
Oh,
Sevilla
that was
to win the
shortening
league.
out, wouldn't it?
Andre Silva
Shortening out, like
to get
so.
30+ goals.
Here we go.
He has got another double tonight, Andre Silva, against Madrid at half-time.
I think that's
He's on
six-
for another. He's on
6
for his
goals
second
now he's
hattie
got.
of the season already.
Fair play.
After scoring, what was it, 2 goals at AC?
Okay, well,
A few in the Europa, but yeah. all from the
Jash
league.
has put in a question.
Hello, Jash.
Hey,
Last couple then, so I want to go home.
He says, should Man United sell Pogba and sign Sergej Milinkovic-Savic next season? Matic knows him well. They could create a great midfield partnership.
Sergio Milinkovic-Savic needs to stop.
No.
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 Pogba has to be our central midfielder. Matic, if we're building a team around Matic,
Crank him
that's when you know you're shot to bits. How old is he now? 32?
I think he just means the Serbian link.
Yeah.
But the Serbian link infers that you have to build a
Serbian
partnership
for the long term between Matic and Sergio Milinkovic. Matic has got 1-2 seasons left in him max.
It would be a big risk. I don't think SMS is half the player Pogba was at 23.
It's mental. It's unbelievable to even suggest it. So whoever suggested it,
Right.
get out the
Well,
comments.
moving quickly on from Josh's question then. Lou, LEW, says, who will win the Carabao Cup? So Joe mentioned earlier there's no Liverpool.
The boys.
There's no Liverpool now.
The
There's no
Blues.
Man United.
Honestly,
there's
I'll
no
take-
Spurs.
There is
take
Spurs.
it.
They won
Got
2-1.
it back.
Dele Alli scored an 86th minute
Right,
winner.
so Spurs are still in it.
It'll be interesting. I think
Man
Chelsea
City.
do what they always do, where they play a young side at the beginning and then eventually put the first team in on the final stages of the cup. I also just saw that Nottingham Forest speaks.
Yeah, your boys Forest, I was about to say.
Big up the Forest.
Oh, Etienne Caputo.
Tottenham!
Change the title!
Get the game on!
Get the game up. Tottenham Watford is about to go to penalties and no extra time in this competition. Unbelievable.
Straight to
We get
pens.
we'll put another game on the same time.
Straight to
How we
pens.
get this game up should not be discussed. Blind
Tottenham
on
versus
air.
Watford is going to
Going to
penalties
pen.
potentially.
Etienne Capu equalised in the last minute. Right, lads. One more question before we
Ex-Spurs
hopefully
as well, Capu. That's actually
He
so
is.
good.
before we hopefully get back onto this stream.
Here we go. Kieran's done the
Kieran,
deed.
Kieran.
Well, Adam Burke asks, which rival player do you find it impossible to
And
hate?
Watford had a man off.
So, yeah, I'm a Sunderland fan.
Oh, look at his rig.
George Wright's turned up.
Put it away.
Oh my goodness. What a farmer town as well.
Oh lord.
Goodness me. You,
Sorry,
you
dude.
do
keep
see
going,
some
say
sights in Watford. So that was a...
Spurs.
Yeah, he's a Watford fan.
MK Dons. It's MK Dons' pitch.
Anyway, yeah, so Sunderland rivals are Newcastle. We don't really have a rival with them anymore because we're in League One. I don't really like any Newcastle players. I don't find it impossible to hate any of them. But a footballer that I find impossible to hate, no matter what he does, is Juan Mata. I just love the guy.
Well, look
I
at
think
the
he's-
whole
Charity
charity
thing.
angle.
I think he's
lovely guy.
every interview I've ever seen him, he just seems like a really nice, humble
Do you
lad.
know who also does an awful lot of charity work? Sami Khedira. He's a lovely, lovely bloke as well. Is the one player you find it impossible to like at Sunderland?
I used to have a real issue with Asamoah Gyan. Well, actually, not really at the
Well,
time when he was
centre,
playing,
he's
but
played
he
Chelsea.
left for Dubai when we were in the top 10.
Son.
And he was playing exceptionally well at the time, and he left us for a club in Dubai. He went and earned his millions. And then there was another striker that we had called, I think it was called something like Park Chu-young. It's really bad that I can't remember. But he retracted his head out of a header when we were playing against Fulham. He didn't want to head the ball, and it was an open goal. And I've never screamed at the TV so much. Mum had to put me in the recovery position. it was horrific.
The Spurs Watford game has
He's a
gone to
player that I
penalty,
find
guys.
impossible to like. Chris, have you got any impossible to hates, impossible to loves
Impossible to hate.
in football?
In football, yeah, David Silva, Juan
Yeah.
Mata, Sami Khedira,
David Silva's
all
one.
guys who do bits and bobs in the community, who...
It's when football's
I
gone
heard
above and beyond.
that a week ago that Wilf Zaha was also putting money into the Crystal Palace women's team,
Really?
which I thought was
Which
which I thought was a really nice gesture.
Wilfried Zaha, I read that. Did you read the article about when he was at United? And how he was just like, he felt like he had no help. I've never felt more for a player than when I read. Like, when
I mean,
read
have
an
you
article,
read any
they're proper
Players
like-
Tribune
Did
articles
you read
where
Raheem Sterling in the Players Tribune?
Yeah, actually, Sterling and Lukaku, those two player tribute
Danny
articles
Alves
are
and
We've got pens.
phenomenal.
full-time.
Penalties in the
Romelu
Tottenham Watford
Lukaku's
game.
story.
Yeah, Romelu Lukaku's story.
Impossible to hate, impossible to like. I think a lot of opposing fans would probably say Scott Brun.
You must be a bit of a hero.
Look at them, what, just
To
watching
say the
that.
least.
Absolute nutter.
Right, lads, we've actually got a Premier League related question.
Okay.
Harvey Lamprell, thanks for your question, mate. He says, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot? Good question.
Aguero. What about you boys?
Sergio.
You thinking anyone else?
I'd say outside shout Eden Hazard.
Yeah, Eden
Seriously.
Hazard?
Man's on fire already.
No, but this is the thing. Eden Hazard's too
How many's he got? 6 in the
unselfish.
league now.
He's too unselfish.
How many's he got in the league? 6?
I don't know. Off by
5,
heart.
I think.
I don't know off by heart. I will say.
It'd be stupid to dismiss him, but I just
Yeah,
I
like-
can't see it.
The only problem I've got with Aguero is I don't think his body's
And his
going to last the
injury,
whole
yeah, you
season.
never know his injury.
he had-
I
He
actually
had
feel like
surgery
he
at the
is.
end of last season, and he said this is the best he's felt in years.
I remember you guys saying that.
So
And he's also got Gabby Jesus to rotate with a year older now.
yeah.
I know. I just don't see. I can't remember a time of
Bang.
Aguero going a whole season without an injury since he arrived.
Tell you who it's probably not going to be.
Who?
Harry Kane.
No.
He looks absolutely exhausted at this point of the
Give him
season.
a
His
break,
shot numbers
Mauricio.
have fallen off a cliff. And
Llorente's playing.
Never write him off though, because he can just go through purple patches where he just scores hat tricks. Then 40. Do you remember when I think Lukaku it was pushing him right for Golden Boot, and then he scored like 19 in 2.
I mean, I'm just being stupid. Harry Kane will be second or third. Like,
Yeah, guaranteed.
This is an interesting question.
Go on,
Arthur Askham has said, which current players do you think will make great managers in the future? So maybe thinking someone who's quite got a bit of match intelligence. It doesn't tend to be the best players that make the best managers.
Sergio Busquets.
Sergio Busquets sees all. I don't know what his leadership.
I think it's a hard question. Like it's hard.
I mean, we're not inside a dressing room.
Like, literally, like, you've got no idea what the players like. Like with Xabi Alonso, you like to think he's going to be a great manager, but you've got no idea.
Xabi Alonso's managing Tango FC.
Exactly.
He's not going to be a great manager.
Let's not. That's what I say, you like to think. You like to think. But let's not dig out Tango FC.
Showing time to Lampard and Gerrard. To be fair to them, they started the season really well.
Rangers had their worst start to a league campaign in about 20 plus years. So
he has
while they hadn't conceded many, he's not exactly set the Scottish football on flight. They've done very well in Europe, admittedly.
Yeah.
Well done.
I'm still not the biggest fan of how
Draw away from that's great.
How some managers can just get a job so easy. Like, just because they're like status beforehand, where it doesn't really mean anything when you come to manager.
I think that's going to happen less and less now, actually. Like, it feels like less jobs for the boys now than it did like at the turn of, like around 2000, let's say. Like the fact that Ryan Giggs kind of had to wait for the national team to become free.
That is true.
And you see managers like Graham Potter and Julian Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel. Penalty starting, sorry.
Penalties.
Well done.
1-0 to
1-0 to
Success.
Watford.
He's an absolute unit.
You know,
Scored already tonight.
I heard this fact that
Size of him.
there's only like one.
Goes the wrong way. It's a really good pattern.
There's only like one Watford player that's under 6 foot. Will Hughes is 6'1".
Really?
You know, I actually think Watford have been really interesting tactically this season. Like they've won this. Do you know they've won the second most turnovers after Tottenham? They're like pressed. They play very centrally, but they're pressed down the middle. And their players like Capu, like who's the other defensive midfielder? Will Hughes. They've got Decore. Are winning an unbelievable
Will Hughes is doing
amount of
such
balls.
a good job on that right wing. I think he's exceptional.
Like
Son stepped up
Grassi
for
has
the
found a
penalty.
great way to fit those players into a system.
Son stepping up then for the
Maria
penalty.
Gomez in goal. I thought it was a lefty.
Long wait.
I thought
Long
it was a
wait.
lefty.
On him in.
The anticipation.
Long wait, wasn't it? I thought the stream had frozen.
Let's have quick responses in between this next 10. Let's have your top 4 predictions, Joe. Then we'll go Zach.
Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Oh, the exact same?
No, maybe Tottenham.
Arsenal said a Spurs.
We'll go with your first answer.
Here's
Laying down the law. For some nasty over here.
City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Spurs, and that's just going to be confident.
Sorry, is this in the Premier League? What
Yeah.
we're talking
Just
about? Top 4, yeah.
It's
City,
Jack Fowler.
Liverpool,
Yeah, he does it.
Chelsea, Tottenham.
That's such a bad penalty.
Is that Capu?
From Capu.
Gazaniga as well. Tottenham are down to their third choice keeper, obviously Lurie injured.
He can't be any worse than Vorm, surely.
You wanted Vorm at Celtic.
Yes, but
That
was a mistake.
For my top 4, I go exactly the same as Chris. Spurs in 4th, Chelsea in 3rd. I just want a title race this year between City and
Lamella's back, guys.
No Man United, anyone's?
No, jokes. Afraid not.
I think at the start of the season,
You guys fit.
I had them as 4th.
Oh no.
Arsenal.
But I've swapped them out for.
I'm keeping them 6th.
Right, Eric Lamella have been playing well recently.
Very good pen. He has been playing well, and he's a player that I want only good things for as well, because he went through a bit of a tough time.
He
didn't
did.
Yes.
He had a terrible injury of his leg, didn't he, as well?
Right, Zach,
I think
quickly.
his dog died.
TMO mostly. He says, what does Loftus-Cheek have to do to further his career? Do you think he needs to leave?
As sad as it is, yes. He's not going to get. Yeah.
He should go to.
He needs to go on loan. He needs to go.
That'd be a big
He
move.
should
needs
go
to go on
and
loan.
replace Moussa
Sol
Dembele
Campbell
over
vibes.
there.
If he's not even getting minutes, like decent minutes by January, he needs to go on loan. And if when he comes back, Will Hughes stepped up. Lovely
pen.
Ben Williams.
And if he comes back and still doesn't get minutes, then he has to leave. Unfortunately, I guess he's got now. As much as I think partially he feels like he owes stuff to Chelsea because he's been there for so long. And he wants to be that first one that can break through.
We've got a really juicy question.
Go.
Zayn Ali Ajab, thanks for your question, mate.
Lorente
he says Mendy or Robertson. Joe?
Mendy, what is that stupid question?
I think it's quite a nice one.
Robertson.
Ridiculous question.
You go Robertson.
Mainly just 'cause I don't think Mendy.
We haven't seen Mendy
It depends,
tested.
left back or left. Wing back.
Finish, Llorente. You could actually
think-
get lost
I
in
think
Llorente's eyes.
yeah.
They're gorgeous.
I think Robertson's a better defender than Mendy.
Not
Mendy is so unique. He's got such a unique skill set, and he's going to get a ton of assists this campaign. Robertson has defied all expectations, hasn't he? Everyone keeps labelling him, and then he just gets better and better. He's 26, 27 now.
He's 24.
I'd say that.
Robertson's 24.
Yeah, that's what I'm
He's the
saying.
same age as Benny Mendy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my God! I thought Robertson was a couple of years older.
I'd say they're both now in the top 6, left backs in the world.
Oh, it's over
It's
for
over.
Watford.
It's over for Watford.
It's over.
Gazza
Along
League
with
is safe to second
Marcelo,
place.
Alaba, Alexandro, no one else really strings to mind.
Alexandro, he hasn't played. in
Joshua
ages.
Kimmich.
Been quite good. Well, yeah, Kimmich
Right, he's
is
right
better on the
back,
right,
isn't
isn't
he?
he?
I
Are we
think,
just talking about fullbacks or left
Oh,
backs?
left
I
back.
think
Who's PSG?
Marcelo.
Kazawa, you've got-
and
To
Bernat.
Ratty last season.
Marcelo,
Definitely not.
Benjamin Mendy. I think Benjamin Mendy, if he hadn't have been injured for last season, there wouldn't be a question. I don't think there'd be a question there between Robertson and him.
But I think both managers.
Right,
would,
this is to win it. now.
Jurgen,
Dele Alli.
Dele Alli to win it.
Panenka.
Jurgen Klopp probably would prefer Robertson at left
Dele
back than
Alli,
Mendy.
calm as you like.
Oh,
nice
we
one,
scored.
not calm as you
Tottenham
like,
have gone
mate.
down.
MK Dons. Well done,
At
Spurs.
MK Dons. That is old ground.
How
as
much,
well.
how much,
Yeah.
how much
Tottenham
money
sneak
for Spurs to play Chelsea in the next round?
Oh, it'd be spicy.
I do think that Jurgen Klopp would prefer Robertson at left back, and Pep would prefer.
Mendy.
Mendy.
They've become like system players, haven't they?
Yeah.
But
Robertson-
moving on anyway.
Robertson's
Should we have a
press
couple
is
more
very
questions and wrap this
Let's
up?
get
Yeah.
2 more questions. I want to
Right,
go.
2 more questions. First one comes from Connor Austin, and he says, "Who has been the best player in the Premier League over the past decade?"
Over the past decade.
So we're going from
Man
2008
alive.
to 2018. While you guys think, because I saw the question beforehand, I think David Silva's got to be in with a shout.
Yeah.
For consistency over that decade, I think, no one can really top that. I think he came in 2010, so he missed the first 2 years. But yeah, David Silva for me, and then maybe Aguero. But yeah, consistency. over
Yeah,
a decade.
20 plus goals for 5-6 seasons in a row. Definitely can't be discounted. Why? Watford players are in tears. It's only the Carabao Cup, lads.
Hey,
Plus, he scored his
no,
pen.
nothing wrong with the Carabao Cup.
No, it's that
do you
elite
wanna-
mentality. Wants to win.
Yeah,
Right. It's
exactly.
like when we
If
don't
you-
hit
if
15
you don't
in a
have
subs
a-
a day,
Exactly.
I will
Zach,
go
if
home
you
and
don't have
cry.
Sorry, mate.
There's
if
your
you don't
answers.
have I mean, best player in the Prem over the last decade, or do
I
you
would say Gareth Bale's up there.
fair? He was only
He
there for
had-
a couple of years.
No, best player that played in the Premier League. Or could,
Oh, I was doing consistency over 10 years.
Oh.
You could just mean best player that's
oh,
been in it.
I thought the best player.
Fair enough then, yeah. All right.
Gareth Bale.
Fair.
From how I've taken
Individual. Is it we going for Zach's or
Let's go for Zach's. It's probably more
I
interesting.
think individually, Cristiano Ronaldo. Yeah, Cristiano.
He was.
only there for- yeah, he was there for
if we
a
say
year.
2008.
That
it's
2008,
Yeah.
2009 season was just
He left
never be
2009,
topped.
2010, didn't he?
It just won't be
Yeah.
dealt.
That
Can't
last
be topped.
season was
Like
stupid.
people like Mo Salah, that one season he topped it. No, come on. No, he didn't.
Okay,
We should've won the
final
treble that year.
question.
Is it a good one?
Yeah,
Warriors.
pretty
sure?
good.
Warriors.
Pressure on
No,
things,
no,
yeah.
it's pretty good. It's
better
coming from
deliver it.
Archie Mills. Thanks very much for your question.
Thank you,
He
Mark.
says, any surprises in the Champions League this year?
So, like, who are our dark horses, effectively?
Who do you think could get knocked out early? Who do you think could go far that no one's expecting? Any thoughts on that?
PSG?
I realise it's just on
Yeah,
10 o'clock and your brain
as in
might be a
doc-
bit frazzled.
Might get knocked
It's been
out.
a long day, hasn't it, lads?
I
It's been a
think
long day.
I think United could go out of the group stages very easily. The game against Valencia at home, I believe in next week or the week after, is massive for Mourinho. So I think they could be the shocks to go out early. And then I don't
can't
think
wait
there's
for
ever going to
PSG
be a
Napoli.
shock to win it. There's never going to be a shock to win the Champions
PSG
League.
Napoli is going to be a very interesting game.
Does it
Yeah,
exist?
that group is going to be fascinating.
Because whichever,
Comes first.
either Liverpool won't get knocked out, but either PSG or Napoli to be knocked out.
Imagine
and going to
PSG
Europa
going
League.
out in the groups.
Mad.
Yeah, I think we're all a little bit disappointed with PSG,
We are.
weren't we? And they are quite obviously missing a number 6, but I do think they'll be able to bounce back in that group and finish first or second. I'd quite like to see Bayern go all the way. They've flirted with it for the last 5 or 6 years, haven't they? I think 5 semi-finals. And that would be a
against tough
little
opposition.
change of pace amongst the top footballers, football teams even. But yeah, like you said, really difficult to pick out a surprise package. I think Tottenham were a surprise package last year, but they're less well equipped maybe to go deeper in the tournament this year round. Didn't strengthen in central midfield, did they?
I mean, if Real Madrid don't make a semi-final, is that a surprise? Because I can see that happening. But on their recent record, I would be, Real Madrid might not make a semi. That'd be a bit of a shock. But yeah, other than that,
I think Barcelona are going to win it.
It's looking ominous.
They've got.
I think City.
No.
Barcelona or City. I mean, secret you can't.
Don't ever
I think Liverpool
Right,
in the
City
captain
off.
position as
discredit
well.
City, yeah.
But Barcelona, some of the players that they added to the ranks that we weren't quite convinced of at the start of the season, like Arthur, have just bedded in really well.
Yeah.
And their rotation is pretty much unrivaled, I think, apart from City.
Yeah.
And maybe Liverpool to an extent. But the fact they can kind of interchange Coutinho, Rakitic, Vidal, Arthur, Busquets, and that's just in midfield.
I just feel City because I know you said at the start that, or halfway through, that you didn't think City had quite gone off like a rocket like Liverpool have. But let's not forget, I would argue their best player has not been available. Like, I think KDB is the best player, not by a distance, but he is City's best player. Everything good that happens to City goes through him. So he's been out for 3 months and not really noticed it.
I think that's it, boys. It's 10
That's
o'clock.
pretty much it. It's 10 o'clock. We all want to go home. I want to go and have some ice cream as well. Anyway,
Some pre-bed ice cream. You're all going to get
I really
diabetes
just,
in
I've got
about
a
a
craving
year.
for some ice cream.
I want a hot bath.
A
Some
hot
bubbles
bath.
in it.
Oh,
Maybe a
Doogie loves a
candle.
hot bath.
I've
so
had
he'll
to
be
go
alone.
man as well.
I've had to go to the
Right.
gym in the morning. That is not happening.
Bit
now.
long.
I'm not
Anyway,
getting up
let's wrap it up.
5:30.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want to see more of these, let us know on Twitter and let us know in the comments below. Yeah, cheers, guys.
Thanks all for
Bye.
your questions.
Yeah, potentially next
later.
week, Champions League.
Love
See
you.
ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep waving.
Keep waving.
Give it 5 seconds.
Just keep waving.
And then turn your mics off so I don't say anything offensive.
That was.
Well done, lads. Top effort to actually get that up.